Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit about Shutterfly. If you're like us, you take a lot of pictures because you have a camera right in your hand all the time. How would you not take a lot of pictures? And we're taking all these pictures, more than we've ever taken in the history of the world.
What are you going to do with them all?
That's the thing. You used to get a solid picture, and then you'd look through them, and you could enjoy them. Now they're like back on your camera roll. You can't even find them. You don't want that. That's why the cool thing you need to do, and what I did, and I think it's pretty cool, is create a Shutterfly photo book.
Oh.
What I did, and you're going to enjoy this, Jimmy, because I haven't showed this to you yet, but took all of our pictures from being on tour this year.
Oh.
All live show pictures, us backstage, us on stage, doing all that stuff, and like some of the, just the venues and things, and made a little photo book out of that. Also, they have free 24-hour designer service as well. With their 24-hour designer service, a professional designer is going to lay out the book for you for free in just a day. Make something that means something with Shutterfly. Enjoy 40% off orders over $29 with promo code SMALLTOWN. See site for promotional details.
And now back to the show.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to get you styled up with Stitch Fix. Shopping's hard. It's hard. With Stitch Fix, you get a stylist, though, who understands your style, your size, your budget, and they do all the shopping for you.
Wow.
This is excellent. Shopping, I'm telling you, shopping and figure out your style, it's overwhelming. Let somebody help you when it comes to getting dressed. We don't know what we're doing, so we let Stitch Fix help us out. A Stitch Fix stylist there. They know what works on us. We get the prices that make us look really good, and it feels good. You get some confidence boost walking around knowing that you're looking decent here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we just give the stylist our sizes, style, budget preferences. We order boxes when we want, how we want, no subscription or any of that required. And they send called Just For Me pieces as well. Like, maybe you'd like this, and it's awesome. Outfit recommendations, styling tips. You keep what you love, you send back the rest. It's super easy.
Yep.
You can do it, and we are doing it because it's excellent. Personal styling for everyone. Get started today at stitchfix.com/STM. That's stitchfix.com/STM.
Now back to the show.
This message comes from Greenlight. Ready to start talking to your kids about financial literacy? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app that teaches kids and teens how to earn, save, spend wisely, and invest with your guardrails in place. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on your kids' spending with real-time notifications. Join millions of parents and kids building healthy financial habits together on Greenlight. Get started risk-free at greenlight.com/Wondery.
This week, in Crandon, Wisconsin, an affair between a student and his professor leads to many problems outside of school, including murder. Welcome to Small Town Murder. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Small Town Murder.
Yay!
Yay, indeed, Jimmy. Yay, indeed. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I am Jimmy Whisman.
Thank you, folks, so much again for joining us on another crazy, wild, just insane edition of Small Town Murder. They get crazier by the week, it seems like.
That's nice.
Which is always good. That's always fun, and no exception this week.
Makes it exciting.
It does. It makes it crazy and then fun and weird. It's a weird thing to say about murder, but
Fun.
it's kind of what we do here. It's kind of what we do here. Hope you enjoyed last week. And this week we're going up to the north. We'll talk about that in a second here. We're going up to Wisconsin. Oh boy. We're going to go freeze up in the North Woods.
The frozen tundra.
A lot of great outdoors references, I imagine, are going to be coming your way.
Is that where it was?
Buckle up the North Woods, yeah.
Was that in
the Bear of the North Woods? Okay. Remember he says? I
didn't realize it was Wisconsin.
Yeah, they went up to Wisconsin up there. So, yes, but thank you first of all, let's start at the beginning.
We should.
Thank you. House cleaning.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for all of your reviews this week on iTunes and otherwise. iTunes, Apple Podcasts, the purple icon. Those really help drive us up the charts. It's iTunes and their funky algorithm. It's not our fault. We don't know why they do it, but it helps. So if you can do that, if you have not done it yet, please give us 5 stars, and it doesn't matter what you say because
blame Tim Apple.
Yeah, it's a Tim Apple. Yeah, it's not it's not for our egos. It's just for business purposes.
Yeah.
Head over to shutupandgivememurder.com. gmail.com.
Please do.
And you can get all of your crime and sports and small town murder needs met there, such as merchandise. We got a lot of cool stuff. Skateboards, new leggings are up.
Yeah.
Lots of cool stuff. I think the leggings are on sale too now, so go ahead and get some of those.
And the guy that makes our skateboards listens to us.
That was pretty cool. He sent us a message going, I made your skateboard. I'm a fan, and I saw the order, and I was like, wow, weird.
That's incredible.
So that was pretty cool to hear. Also there you can find tickets to live shows. We will be in Nashville this weekend, but that's sold out.
Right.
But we have just talked about it too.
Yeah.
We have a slew coming up all across the country, markets that we've been needing to get to.
If you've been begging for it,
it's coming.
It's coming to you.
Yeah. So buckle up for that. Get on there. And by the way, listen to Crime and Sports.
Please do.
We cannot. Let's break it down. Let's sit down. We're all going to really have a talk now. The show's
crisscross applesauce. Everybody.
Everyone, eyes up here.
Bubbles in your mouth.
Everyone, flick the lights on and off, so we're all quiet. Seriously, guys, the show is, if you like small town murder, there is no reason you would not like Crime and Sports. We're telling you. We're not saying this so you'll listen and not. We don't want you to not like something. We think you'll like it. That's why we're begging you. Listen to this week's episode on Mitch Blood Green. And if you don't like that, then you won't like the show.
It's true.
Listen to that and then start from the beginning because it's insanity and it's a lot of fun. So I
love this. Somebody mentioned Stofers.
Yeah,
because we
and
talked
Stofers.
And then Stofers is like, we would like to hear more. I don't think you'd like to hear more.
I don't think it's really a long story.
And you don't come out well in the end.
No, it's bad for you. Definitely. If you want to be a hero of the show, one of our producers who we talk about at the end of each and every show and who we praise to the highest levels we can, you can do that very easily by going to patreon.com/crimeinsports or heading over to PayPal and using our email address, which is crimeinsports@gmail.com. You can also do both of those things right through shutupandgivememurder.com.
Please do.
We have to do the disclaimer quickly. Obviously, this is a comedy show. It's a comedy podcast. We're comedians, so we make jokes. All the facts are 100% real. The cases are real. Nothing's embellished or, made silly for humorous purposes. You might say, what's so funny about murder? As some people have said to us. Lots of shit, as a matter of fact.
And eat shit, WGN.
Yeah, that's right. It happens.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff around. Usually when there's a murder, there's a lot of crazy things happening around to cause this murder. Right. And that's what we joke about. Small towns, people living crazy lives, a police force that can't find a killer who's right under their noses. It's easy. There's a lot of jokes to it. But that's what we're warning you about. There's jokes in here. Because some people think true crime and comedy should never go together, and they should not listen to the show because they won't have any fun, and we want to have fun, and we want you to have fun. But if you don't think that, if you think that you want to have a good time, then you're in the right goddamn place.
Yeah.
And we're going to do this, and I think it's time to shout from the rooftops, out your car window, from your treadmill, from your cubicle, unless you work in a conservative office, then feel free to go into the bathroom and say it, quietly into your arm. Right. Say, shut up and give me murder. Let's do this. Yeah. Let's go on a trip, Jimmy. What do you say?
All right.
Let's get going. I think we need to get going. Let's go all the way to Wisconsin, all the way to Crandon, Wisconsin.
In the summer.
We're going to, oh, baby, Crandon, Wisconsin.
Spring? What is it? I don't know. Is it spring right now?
It's spring still. It's April. I think this is like the meat of spring. This is the taint of the spring right here.
It's very bizarre.
It's deep.
This time of year in America is weird because here we're already fucking miserable.
Well, some places it's 90 degrees. Some places it's snowing.
Right.
That's where it's a very odd place we live here.
I imagine Wisconsin is the latter there.
It's probably cold, especially here because Crandon is up in the very northeast tip of the state.
Oh.
It's up there. It's just it's like almost a mini panhandle nub, kind of just starting to jut out. But it's connected to the UP there, the Upper Peninsula of Michigan,
up there.
Way up at the top of it too. It's basically Canada. It's up there. It's 3 hours and 45 minutes to Milwaukee, which is still that's not like south in the state either. That's up there. 4 hours to Minneapolis and 4 hours and 20 minutes to Mineral Point, Wisconsin, which was episode number 64 that we did. And I don't know how far it is to Baraboo, but hopefully far for everyone here. Stay away from Baraboo. It's in Forest County, which is appropriate because this shit is nothing but trees.
Oh, so they didn't dig deep.
They just went, well, there's a lot of trees out there. You want to do something with that? I don't know. Woodsland County? How about Forest? All right, done. Stamp. Over.
It's not named after Gump.
No, definitely not. No, it's not. It's not a double R.
Okay.
Like Forrest.
Like a dude's
Nathan
name.
Bedford Forrest.
Right.
Zip code here 54520. Area code 715 and 534. One area code cannot hold this town.
I love when they do that.
Can't hold it.
Yeah.
It's 6 square miles, the town, so it's not a huge town, not a tiny town. The motto of the town itself is, quote, Center of Wisconsin's North Woods.
Oh.
So that's the town motto. It's not real catchy and snappy.
Well, they couldn't say the center of Wisconsin because they're like, we're way the fuck up here.
Center of the North Woods.
Right.
So they're just like, I don't know, we're in the North Woods. We'll just call ourselves the center of the North Woods. Well, we're not really the center. We're off to the east. Look, it's fucking marketing, Bill. Bill, it's marketing. Let's call ourselves the fucking center. When they're in the middle of forest for the trees, you know the saying? When they're in the middle, they won't know the fucking difference. They'll think they're in the middle.
And you know what else, Bill? They have to get here to find out that shit's not true. So just try to get them here.
No one's going to show up and be like, we're actually slightly in the eastern part of the North Forest. No one's doing that.
And even if they do, they were here.
They're here.
We got the tourism money.
Cash. The county motto, the county for Forest County, their motto is, quote, take a breath.
Because you can.
There's a lot of oxygen.
Right.
I prefer this one, though, because there's a second motto to the county. There's take a breath, and then somebody did like a response motto to it, which I feel is much better. Quote, don't take a breath. Everywhere around you is nothing but cheesy beer farts. So that's the other.
Take a breath and fucking hold it.
And hold it, because it's nothing but cheese and beer farts. And Wisconsin, you think it's like a cliche that, you know, oh, they have a lot of cheese. No. If you drive on a highway in Wisconsin, every exit has 14 signs for places with fucking cheese. That's all. That's it. There's not, you know, restaurants. It's just like all these places to buy cheese. How much cheese can you buy?
Well, I mean,
in one place.
That's a brilliant fucking plan, though, in terms of like product to make, because you can't just make that at home. You know what I mean? Like,
no.
You can build couches and shit all you want, but I can go on Pinterest and I can figure out how to make a couch.
Yeah, I mean, you can make cheese, but it's not fun.
It's a nightmare. It's a real pain in the ass.
I don't know how much cheese people are buying off the road just to keep this going. I don't understand it.
Van cheese? Is there?
There's
probably vans, right?
Vans, and people like in Arizona. There's guys. It's 115 degrees. There's a guy with a van parked outside of town and like on a desert corner on a van with a sign that says shrimp. It's like I'm gonna buy shellfish from a man in the middle of the desert in a van when it's 115 degrees
shrimp
outside.
And mangoes, like the two things that don't go together.
Why are you
I guess
selling
they
that?
could, but that's a bizarre. That you don't get those at the same place.
I've never slammed on my brakes and like big cloud of dust behind me as I slide off into the desert.
Did that say shrimp?
He's got shrimp. Everybody, no, there's shrimp. I'm sure he's got it refrigerated very well.
Buckle up, kids.
It's only 115 out, so I'm sure it's fine.
It's all on dry
Get it
ice.
iced down. Jesus Christ.
That's so gross.
It's terrible.
Iced down shrimp
That's
is the
what it
most.
is.
That's a terrible garage band.
It's awful. It's at least a bad first album. One of the worst. History of this town. The town website, this is amazing, by the way. Right at the top of the website, it gives you just a little piece of what they are. And it says, Forest County welcomes you! Exclamation point, obviously. And then it says, you'll not find a traffic light or a parking meter, but you'll find warm and friendly people in a beautiful setting to make your time here memorable. There is not a traffic light in the county.
Just keep driving.
In the county. And I've seen pictures of like the main street of the town, and it's just, there is nothing hanging from a wire anywhere. It's just fucking stop signs. It's weird. It looks like the 40s or something.
Well, that's not really much of a draw, is it? No stop lights.
I mean,
you still got a sign. I'm still going to hit the brakes.
I feel like they're embarrassed about it. Because they said, you'll not find a traffic light or parking meter, but don't judge us based on that. You will find warm and friendly people, and it's beautiful, so don't worry about it. Just get out of there. Crandon's the county seat of Forest County because it's the only incorporated community in the county. This is the middle of fucking nowhere. I cannot reiterate that enough. This is where John Candy takes his family on vacation for Chicago, and his son puts a pool cue up against local's vagina. This is the town. I feel like where this is taking place.
And how close were those pool tables that he got enough cue in there for her to spin around and throw it across the bar?
Not to mention,
that's not tapping her in the stink star.
Who shoots pool with your fucking hand halfway up the pool cue? Too? You had your hand in the back. He would have felt it with his hand, and he would have went, "Oh, hey, I just goosed you, sweetheart. How you doing?" No,
real sorry about that. As a gentleman, I'm so sorry.
With his hair?
Yeah, with his 80s wave.
I saw a kid 2 days ago with that exact haircut. I actually, because I pulled it up on my phone to show my daughter. I go, doesn't he look like that? She goes, oh my God, he does. Yeah, exactly.
My son wears his hair like that.
Jesus Christ. Stop that. Put a stop to that, Jimmy.
I try so hard, but the kid plays soccer and he wants to look like the fucking soccer players look. You seen Landon Donovan or Dave Beckham?
Give him a mohawk while he sleeps. You have control of this child still. He's still young. He has no say over anything still. You're bigger than him.
It's tough when I've had him get a haircut and I got it cut short and then
Jimmy.
The fucker cried as we walked.
That's right. It's good. You get him in a headlock and you just zip one down the middle with the shaver. That's like, well, you got to cut it now, or else you look like a fruit. What are you gonna do? Yeah, you look crazy. Look like a complete nutcase now. Like you don't know what you're doing. Yeah. Like I'm a silly person. I look like a professional wrestler now. What did I do to myself? So Samuel Shaw, who is an entrepreneur and a capitalist, apparently, he bought property at the edge of in Forest County in the 1880s, and people started coming to the area. German and Polish immigrants mainly came here, and Crandon, they tried to be a farming community first, because that's what these people knew how to do. They tried to farm potatoes. They were like, let's make potatoes. I guess you don't make potatoes. Let's grow potatoes. If they could make potatoes, that's fuck. I'd pull off the side of the road for that.
Yeah.
If you had a van that said homemade potatoes, they'd be like, how the fuck did you do that?
How'd you do it, sir?
I don't want any.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
Give me your business card, though.
But I'm curious about your process.
You got a YouTube channel?
A website I can look at? Yeah, I need your business plan. So they tried potato farming and they tried dairy up there, and it didn't work because they're in the middle of the forest, apparently. So residents relied on fishing, poaching, I guess, and picking berries to survive. So this turned into like
foraging.
This turned into like stranded hill people Donner Party action, where there's berries. What happened in the winter? It snows feet up there. Yeah. Like this is.
There's no berries.
There's no goddamn berries. There's no anything. The ice is frozen. The water's frozen thick. There's no fishing. I don't know what you're going to do here. So they finally got a county in 1887. They lobbied to create Forest County there, and they finally got rail service there in the late 1800s. But I guess a line didn't reach directly into the town until after the turn of the 20th century. So they had a real problem getting people to recognize, hey, we're up here. Right. We're all the way the hell, because they're just so far up there in the forest. If they're not in front of you complaining, you'd forget they're there.
Right.
I don't know, those forest people up there, who cares? The Keebler elves up there, I don't know what they're doing. Who gives a shit?
And their berry and foraging parts are going into Canada, so nobody can even smell them up there.
Tell you what you do. Yeah, that's true. Tell you what you do. They've been breaking our balls. Next time they come to town, out front, just leave some berries and some roadkill out there.
Maybe a fish.
They'll be totally distracted by that, and then we can all just leave. Yeah. There they are, and they'll be foraging, and then we can take off. So the lumber industry was the one who was a big deal here in this town. The Page and Landeck Lumber Company got a bunch of hardwood timberlands near Crandon around the turn of the century, the 1900.
Yep.
And they built a huge sawmill near the lake on the north side of Crandon. And in a couple of years, because there was work there, the population grew from 800 to about 2,400.
Oh, no.
Just in like 3 years.
Yeah.
Because they just needed work. And people will go places for work. I think one thing we've proved in this country is if there's jobs, people will fucking go there for them.
Show up.
People live in Florida. Yeah. You know what I mean? I mean, that's a proof. Proof positive. Speaking of that, we're going to be coming to Florida on this next tour again. So
a couple of cities.
So, we'll keep making fun of you. So, with the railroad there, they tried to get people to come in, settlers and loggers from Kentucky. We're now turn of the century Kentucky. This is some jug band shit here. We're talking. This is some hill folk, fucking
scary folks.
Yeah, this is some. There's dueling banjos happening. This is
Should I play our washboard?
Yeah, that's what I mean. We have a washboard. Somebody sent us, but they recruited these people up there because they didn't mind going up there, and eventually the sawmill was moved from Crandon to Kentucky, which is odd. I don't know if they were like, we like these Kentucky people so much, we should have all our employees be from Kentucky. Let's go to Kentucky.
Or Kentucky folks were like, this is a bit far. This is a long commute.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Now, the modern, they love bringing up, and we'll talk about it later in things to do, but they love bringing up their, quote, Kentuck ancestors. They call everything Kentuck. They don't even put the Y on it, because it's too much to do. It's a lot. It's a lot.
It makes it cartoony when you put the Y.
So much more casual just to be like Kentuck. You know what I mean? It's like calling Michael Jordan Mike. You know what I mean? Like you know him. No, I know Mike. Yeah, it's like, no, you don't.
That's what it is. It's very familiar.
Not from Kentucky. Yeah, no, it's all good. City was incorporated as Crandon in 1909, and then they built a courthouse, and they built shit like that right around this time. The timber has since diminished there. They don't have as much timberland that's taken down. There's a couple of logging companies, but not too much. Their economy became based on in the 1900s here. They had a creamery.
All right.
A potato warehouse. We can't grow them, but I'll be goddamned if we can't store them. I can't make
a warehouse.
I can't grow the potatoes, but if you grow some potatoes, you can store them in my warehouse. I got that covered. It's not in the money's not in the growing. It's in the housing.
It's not a museum. It's a warehouse.
Yeah, no. It's not like a potato retrospective where you go and admire potatoes. It's to hold them over for shipping or something.
Do you think there's probably one in Idaho, right?
I would assume
like in some sort of museum because I would
assume so.
It's the most versatile thing on the planet.
Yeah, obviously. You
Potatoes
can make
the greatest thing
you
ever.
can make everything from booze to gnocchi. That's a pretty big.
That's a pretty wide spectrum.
It's a wide spectrum.
There's not an actor on earth that has that much range.
It's fucking versatile. You know how potatoes are in our house. In my house, potatoes are like a holy thing.
It's the greatest thing ever.
Potato enthusiast. I
love them.
From way back. They also had a cheese factory, a cabinet shop, and a broom handle factory.
Oh.
Just the handle. We do not make the sweepy part on the bottom.
Bristles, forget it.
We don't do that. We do. We have a sister factory in Kentucky, in Kentucky, where they make the bristles.
Back in
here,
KT.
We meet in Ohio and we put them together and make brooms. So,
somebody in Ohio makes the threaded part.
That's
and then
how,
we just
that's how it works.
Connect it all.
They had a big uproar from the 80s to the early 2000s about it. They're supposed to be, they wanted to have a mine. It's a big environmental thing. They wanted to have a mine. I guess there's a copper deposit there that Exxon found, and they wanted to, extract. So there was a lot of, in 1998, the legislature passed an act and to limit mine sites, and basically, a lot of people didn't want to destroy the North Woods, and some people were like, but there's shit in the ground and we need to get it.
Mother
we'll pull
Earth
it out.
is here, and she's here for the raping.
We need it, damn it. So the project was finally, this is from the 80s, it was finally withdrawn in October of 2003. They finally gave up and said, all right, 20 years and we still haven't pulled a fucking speck of copper from the ground. Let's just say never mind.
Also, you're about 100 years too late for mines. It's a dying industry, and now you're going to get into it?
In a national forest area, you're going to go in and go, we want to really just pull some shit out of the ground. And we're like, is there a shortage of copper right now? I think we're good. It's not like there's fucking oil under there or something where, whatever. So anyway.
What other dying industries you want to get into?
Come on. What about
Christ.
that? Is there, we're going to set up a shoe cobbling stand at the top of the mine that we'll have. So
we got a milkman university. We got a whole university here
teaches you how to
for the milkman.
Keep it cold. Not unlike the shrimp guy on the side of the road. It's got to compete with him. It's a bitch. October 2007, October 7th, as a matter of fact, this is a famous murder happened here. Obviously, we're not going to cover that one because people have already covered it. So
it's been done.
What the hell do we care?
It's not us.
Not us. So we like to give you guys different shit. Like people will be like, how about Ed Kemper? You ever hear of him? We're like, yeah. So is every other podcast on Earth. So that's why we don't do it. We do ones that you've never heard of. Right. That way it's different. I don't know. We're just trying to give you different stuff.
You want to hear about Ed Kemper? You don't even have to go to iTunes for it. Go to YouTube and you can watch 19 different documentaries.
There's a ton. 19's a conservative number.
Yeah. You can see a whole interview from his fucking mouth.
Yeah, absolutely. So, October 2007, a Tyler Peterson, who's an employee of the Forest County Sheriff's Department and an officer with the Crandon Police Department, shot 7 people, killing 6 of them in town. There was an ex-girlfriend involved. I read the story. I won't get into it, but there's an ex-girlfriend, and he thought she was cheating or whatever, and there was people at her house. He came and, kind of slapped her around and then left and then came back with an AR-15 and lit the place up and shot a bunch of people. people. So not good. 2014, they recalled their mayor, which I always find is fun. How bad can you have to fuck up in a small town? What has to happen? There's just, Main Street is one big sinkhole. Right. Since Main Street completely fell apart, since this mayor there's been no electricity since this mayor has taken office. I feel like we should recall them. Who cares? 2-1 margin too. They must have really been pissed at him.
Maybe he approved legislation to put up a stoplight, and they were like, "Fuck this guy."
Fuck you. Have you seen our website? We're not changing that. We don't know how to do it. A guy put it up. We paid a young man
the password.
We paid a young man years ago to put it up, and we haven't changed it since, and frankly we don't know how to change it back, so it is what it is.
Keep paying GoDaddy for bandwidth. We're not changing the website.
They have a logging industry here still slightly. There's a tourism industry like John Candy and his kids, and a light industry. They make lights here.
Light bulbs?
Light bulbs, yeah. They also have a lot of camping like John Candy, and the World Championship off-road races also here. They have a big racetrack I'll talk about a little later. Yeah, so it's a dirt trucks. And it looks pretty fun. Looks like a good time.
Yeah.
So
you'll go to those?
Yeah, that looks like fun.
Oh, I'm taking you.
Yeah, I'll watch from a distance. I'm not sitting among the people.
You're going and sitting on steel bleachers.
I'm not sitting next to hillbillies. I can't do it.
The 12-ounce beer.
I can't do it.
You can stare at the beer. I don't care. Don't drink it. I don't give a shit.
I'll have to drink it just to numb myself. I can't.
I want to take you to that and just watch you sweat and hate every second.
I can't sit among hillbillies. I just can't fucking do it. I can't do it. I can't. I hear them talk, and I hear fucking dumb shit.
I'm telling you, the conversations you overhear.
Oh, I know.
They're so good.
It's kind of fun, though, I guess.
They're so good.
Just take a microphone with us and record them and then talk about them. Bonus episode.
Hell yeah.
So, Crandon also, in this tiny town in the middle of the forest, has 2 casinos. So you got to have that. Wow.
You got
2
a racetrack. You need a casino.
Yeah. The population is held very steady here. It peaked out at 2,000 people in 1940, and then it has been astonishingly consistent. In 1940, 2,000 people. The year 2010, 1,920 people.
That's pretty decent.
And it was stayed right in that area. It never fluctuated. Population now, 1,967 people, which is down 1% since 1990. That stays right on the money here.
Somebody dies, they fucking make another.
There's another one coming up after that. And it's weird, too. Median age here is 37.3, which is right on the money with the rest of the country. And if you look at their ages, it's just all averages.
How about that?
Perfectly on average with all the age groups. No more or less old people, no more or less kids. This is your average town of average, except there's more males than females. 55.5% male, but there's logging work. So there's a few, sorry ladies, but there's a few, and not to say you can't log, but there's a few more male loggers at this point in time than female loggers.
It's not that you can't. It's
you
that
can
you
do
fucking
it.
won't.
You're like, I'm not fucking, that looks dangerous.
And you're smart for it.
Let them prove how tough they are. I'm going to get a better job. So, married here is way less than normal because a lot of single guys come here to log. So you get that. It's 42%. Normally it's 50-50. So we get, single with no children. There's more of those people. Single with children. There's more of those people. Just more single people. I feel like this is a good place to get in a beer fueled fight in a bar with a logger.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? This seems like a lot of that going on. Population as far as race goes, shocking 87% white. It's fucking Wisconsin. I don't know what you expected there. So 87% white, 0.71% black.
Yeah.
Not a lot of black people there at all. 0.0% Asian.
Wait, 0.71?
Yeah, not even 1% black.
I said 7.1.
No. Not even 1%. Okay. Not even. So there's like 16 black people here in this town, basically.
The Hispanic are bringing up the rear?
No, there's a 0.0% Asian, so they're definitely not bringing up anything. Hispanic, 0.66%.
Well, what the hell?
8% Native American.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the people don't even know they're there. They just haven't found them. And they're just
they're hiding out in the woods.
They don't know that settlers have come. They still live.
They haven't gotten the news.
No, they're just they're like, we heard this Lewis and Clark came by a little while ago, but we heard about them wandering around. Haven't seen anybody since. It's thick woods. We don't know. Religion, 46% of the people here are religious, so a little less. 0.0% Baptist. Look at that. They don't play that shit in the Canadian border or whatever the fuck it is.
Is that the Midwest?
I guess, yeah. 31.3% Catholic. So a lot of Catholics here, as a matter, which is strange
for
the
north.
It's odd.
It's Mid-North.
Then you got your Presbyterians and your Lutherans, and 7.3% Lutheran, 0.0% Jewish people.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of logging. No, not a lot of Jewish mothers going, you're going to grow up and you're going to be a logger. You're not going to college.
Yeah.
You're going to logging camp, and you're going to. That's not a normal.
The only logging is like they own the logging company.
Yeah, it's not going to.
And they don't live anywhere near it.
It's not a big one.
No.
We'll put it that way. 0.0% Islam. Also up there. As far as politics go, 35% Democrat in the last election, about 62% Republican. Here, it's rural, and unemployment rate's a little higher than normal here. It's almost 5%, which is a little higher than the rest of the country. Median household income. Average is about $57,500. Here, it's just under $40,000 for median household income. Jobs, there is 3 times as many like forestry jobs as normal, which makes sense. You're in the middle of the goddamn woods. Sure. More construction, more manufacturing. It's that sort of thing. Also, more retail trade and restaurant work because it's a tourist area. So you're going to get that. Cost of living. Now, this is where it gets interesting. 100 is a par, regular average. Here it is 76.9. And it's low because of housing. Housing is 45.2.
God, I love that.
$84,500 is the median home cost here. Yeah, $84,500 to live up in the woods.
That's great.
And have a girl fling your pool cue across the room with her thighs. This is amazing. Yeah, this is amazing. Not bad. Houses here, you look at them, most of them are between, $60,000 and $200,000.
Yeah.
That's the range for the most part. 35% of the houses here were built before 1939.
Oh, that's scary.
That's a lot of old houses here. A lot of old inventory. They have not really built any new houses in forever because there's no population boom. The population stayed the same, so their infrastructure doesn't have to grow.
Yeah.
You don't need any new houses. No one's moving here.
A lot of those old houses are scary, not just because...
they're fucked up, too, yeah.
It's because one dude came in, made it the way he wanted it, then he sold it, and the other guy just put some other shit in
Put some linoleum over that, painted the kitchen avocado fucking green, and then passed it on, and there's 8 different eras going on in one house. This room is mid-century, whereas here, this is all 1977 in this room, and it's terrible.
It's really not cool. It's terrifying, really. It's scary.
Awful.
Because you don't know if the shit's done up to code, too.
Oh, who the hell knows? Jesus, a disaster.
19 homeowners.
No permits. Oh. Jesus Christ. Well, if we've convinced you that Crandon, Wisconsin's for you, then we have for you the Crandon, Wisconsin Real Estate Report. Your average 2-bedroom rental here is about $700 a month.
That's easy.
Which isn't that terrible. That's pretty good. I found there's some expensive stuff and there's some very inexpensive stuff here. I found a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, 1,152 square feet. It's right by a lake. Lake view from it's right there.
Awesome.
$42,500.
Why is that even on the market?
Sounds fantastic.
Still?
Yeah,
great.
Sounds great. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure it's a dump also, but at the same time, it's right by the fucking lake. Go fishing. What do you want? 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,664 square feet. Decent house. It's in decent shape. $109,900. Yeah. That's excessively reasonable. Yeah. And then let's say you want to stretch out. Yeah. You're going up there and you're retiring after you've overseen an empire. I found a 5-bedroom, 4-bath, 4,200 square feet. It looks like a fancy ski lodge. This place, inside, it's very Northwoods Lodge looking place. Fucking opulent.
like a chandelier made out of elk horns.
That type of shit. $1,100,000.
Fantastic.
So nice place though. Things to do. Now there's the racetrack we talked about there. They have the Crandon, the dirt racetrack. Also though, in July at the courthouse is the Kentuck Festival. So
what? How do you? How do you have? How do you in one? That's like us having a California
festival. Let's read from the Kentuck Festival. New Mexico Festival. A celebration of the heritage of the area's early settlers from Kentucky. Arts, crafts, specialty foods, including soup, beans, and cornbread. Finally, a place for soup beans. Fuck. We go all around the country, and I'm like, Jimmy, everywhere we go, I just can't find any soup beans that I really want. There they are.
That's terrible.
Cornbread. Area merchants put their best bargains of the year out onto the sidewalks. Just there you go, fuckers. Historical displays. The day kicks off with a 7th annual 5K Moonshine Run walk.
Wow.
The Moonshine Run.
How do you do that? Do you like get shit-faced and then go run?
I don't think,
walk?
I think it's not discouraged. It starts at 9 a.m., though, so you better get started early.
That's what I would watch. You have to take 2 shots of Shine and run a mile.
Yeah. Well, Josh Jager joshjager84@gmail.com is the guy to email to register for that if you guys want to get into that. So
I want to know what that's about.
Also, dress the part, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Kentucky Pioneer, Prohibition, or Moonshine era, or even the humorous versions, it says. I don't know what that means. Could win you a prize. $50 in chamber bucks will be awarded to the best dressed vendor or attendee at the festival, with judging on stage at noon. Not even $50.
No.
It's $50 in chamber money. There's like,
you got to use that for the bulk trash over here.
There's like an ice cream shop and the recycling center takes those. That's the only places that takes that. And the Army Navy surplus, they also take the chamber bucks. What the fuck, man?
Get yourself a combat worn backpack.
Yeah, look at that. Kentucky Pioneer, Prohibition or Moonshine era, or even the humorous version. What does that mean?
I don't know.
Just barefoot and fucking, I don't know.
Barefoot
straw
with a
sticking out of your mouth.
Yeah. Cut offs and
fucking jug.
Cut off overalls. Dragging a girl with 2 black eyes.
I guess. Crime rate in this town, besides that crime.
Yeah.
Property crime here is about half of normal. Mm-hmm. It's pretty low. And violent crime, murder, rape, robbery, and of course, assault. The Mount Rushmore of crime is about 1/3 the average nationally. So this is a safe little kind of pristine north middle of nowhere. Affordable, untouched by shit.
Yeah.
Good place to go sit and talk to Dan Aykroyd about investment opportunities. I don't know.
That don't exist.
You know how it goes. So
this Rolex is a fake.
You know how that goes. Yeah.
What do you say? This Rolex is as real as whatever the fuck.
God damn it.
There was something else that was fake.
You twist it. You twist it. You simulate kindling. So.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about the safest sponsor ever, Simply Safe. Absolutely, these people will keep you safe. It's amazing. You know that every 26 seconds a burglary takes place in the United States, according to the FBI. That means that by the time this podcast is over, dozens and dozens of homes will have been targeted, ransacked, God knows what happens here. So protect your home before it's too late with Simply Safe proactive security system. Simply Safe helps stop threats before they even have a chance to break in. Named Best Home Security System by U.S. News and World Report 5 years in a row. And by us for about the last 8 years as well. If you trust us, believe me, you want Simply Safe. So visit simplysafe.com/small to claim 50% off a new system with professional monitoring plan and your first month free. That's simplysafe.com/small. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Now back to the show.
This show, Small Town Murder, is brought to you by BetterHelp. Get yourself some therapy, everybody. Honestly, here. We often hear about, red flags that you should avoid. Hey, that's a lot of a thing. It's become a real phrase now, real cliche. But why don't you focus also, you look at green flags in friends and partners. Look for good things as well.
Right.
And maybe you're not sure what that looks like, though. Therapy can help you figure that out. What are positive things? What are the green flags? And then you can practice them in your relationship. It's absolutely a fact. And so, honestly, we absolutely are huge advocates for this. It really, really helps. BetterHelp is fully online, making therapy affordable. It's convenient. They serve over 5 million people worldwide. You can access a diverse network of more than 30,000 credentialed therapists, wide ranges of specialties there. Here's the coolest part. You're not getting along with your therapist, you're just not feeling it, you can switch at any time, no extra charge.
Wow.
The thing is, they want you to get help. That's it. And you can do it with BetterHelp. Discover your relationship green flags with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/smalltownmurder today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show and tell you about Noom. Has Noom helped you? I believe it has.
Oh, that's got an app. You can do tracking. It's terrific.
It does. Noom builds personal plans that can meet individual needs. That's the thing. Takes into account any dietary restrictions, medical issues, other personal needs. That helps build a plan that works for you. And yes, so I know that you've had your own personalized program here that you've been working on. And
it's weight loss This is weight loss results that last. They stick around because you get yourself into a lifestyle change. That's what matters.
That's mainly it. You can't just say, I'm going to cut that out for a month and then go back. That's not what it is. So I'm glad it's helping you. That's great. And it really does. I like the psychology and biology-based approach here. Yeah. Noom Weight uses psychology. That's why they say losing weight starts with your brain, but it also takes into account your unique biological factors, Jimmy. All of your multitude flora and fauna that goes on inside of you there. Sure. Yeah. Stay focused on what's important to you with Noom's psychology and biology-based approach. Sign up for your trial today at Noom.com, Noom.com here. Based on 3.5-year study of actively engaged Noom users with minimum starting BMI of 25. Individual results may vary. Visit our website for more information.
Let's talk about a murder.
Yeah.
What do you say? I think it's time.
We're busted.
It's time. It's time. Let's talk about a murder. Now, for this, we're going to head to the early 70s.
Okay.
We're going to go back in time. Now, we just described this town now.
Yeah.
Now, think about it in the early 70s. It's exactly the same. Still no stoplights. It's the same
amount of people.
Same exact amount of people. No stoplights. It's exactly the same place.
Same houses.
Just slightly different clothes, probably. Mildly updated. Like now they wear members only jackets and like 80s clothes, but not because it's like nostalgic and like hip. They just do it because they think that's in style now. Whereas at this point they were wearing like, like 20s, like flapper girl dresses. And zoot suits and shit, I think, was going on in the 1970s in this town. A little behind is what we're getting at.
Or it's the typical 1930s garb from Kentucky.
Just overalls and overalls. Maybe a shirt.
You have two pairs of overalls, the long ones and the short ones.
Yeah. Got my summer overalls. I got my winter panties. They're out there. Now, let's talk about some people here. Let's start out with a guy, and this is his name. Why? Okay. I have a thing about naming your kids properly and not just naming them like a dipshit. You can name them some weird name. That's fine, whatever. But don't name them something that's like that rhymes or don't name them.
That's awesome.
Obviously, Junior is bad. But this is the most. I don't understand. This man's name is Paul Pauly.
No.
Paul.
Legally?
That's his name.
Oh, boy.
That's his guy. Pauly is his last. Paulie.
That's his last name?
That's his last name. His first name is Paul.
Oh, Jesus.
Your last name's Pauly, and they said, let's name him Paul. Won't that be funny if he's Pauly? That's hilarious, right?
Holy hell.
No, don't do that to a child, ever.
No.
Bad things are going to happen. You're going to instill rage. No, he was made fun of every day.
Absolutely.
Every day at school.
I met a guy named Richards Johnson. Richards, first name, Richards, plural, with an S.
You can't do that.
They went out of their way to name him Dick's Dick.
Well, they made it, they wanted it to not be Dick. Well, it's Richards because that's probably like their grandmother's maiden name or some horse shit.
Dicks.
Yeah, they're like, well, if it's Richards, then Dick's not short for it, right? No, it's fine. Yes, it is.
It is.
It's still Richard, asshole. So,
matter of fact, his first name is Dix. It's two.
Paul Pauly?
No, that's
wrong. He can't be Paul Pauly.
No,
the only other people I know with the same first and last name are Ricky Ricardo, which I assume is Ricardo at that point. And I think in Teen Wolf, Michael J. Fox's dad was Howard, I believe.
I think that's true.
As a matter of fact. Other than that, nobody's Paul Pauly in real life. So, Paul Pauly, he's in the early 70s. He's in his early 20s. He served in Vietnam. This is an era where all these people were, everybody we talk about, every guy has been in the military of some kind. They were in Korea, they were in Vietnam, they were in World War II.
When did that stop?
Vietnam?
No. I mean, that's basically still going.
That was fucking.
But I mean, when did that era stop where like being in the military wasn't just like a thing you were expected to do? Do you know what I mean?
With us.
It pretty much was, wasn't it?
It was with us.
It's pretty much us.
It's everybody who came back from Vietnam.
They were like, fuck that.
They were like, I don't want my kid to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's have a thing where my kid doesn't have to do that.
Vietnam fucked up a lot of things.
They fucked up a lot. Well, World War II was weird because those people came back and wanted their kids to go to war.
Yeah, because we won.
We won, even though they had horrible experiences.
Yeah.
World War II, obviously,
right.
But there was something different in World War II where it was like those guys went on their own. Most people signed up.
Hell
they ran to sign up. They had more people than they could knew what to do with. Whereas Vietnam, it was romanticized. It was because it was we were attacked. We need to go fight back.
We're gonna do it. We're gonna come back, and it's gonna be beautiful.
And the fucked up part was it wasn't even propaganda. Really, it was true.
Yeah.
You can say whether Roosevelt was baiting them and knew it was blah blah blah. But I mean, we actually were attacked, and then it wasn't just like attacked by like 12 guys in a cave either.
Right.
It was actually people,
coordinated
whole
government.
countries that had paperwork that said we are declaring war on you now. This shit was like a comic book, and they said we need to mount a thing, and they did it. So they had a certain pride to it, and then they wanted their kids to have the same kind of pride, and then they went to Vietnam, which was not the same war at all, and there was
like weapons invented for World War II that like weren't even tested yet. They're just like fucking run it out there and see if it works.
They were inventing them as it was going, so it was like, here they are, go get it out,
and we did it. Now then with Vietnam, then it was like this is a whole different game because we can't even see them.
Well, there wasn't the same enthusiasm.
That's the other point.
It's not the same enthusiasm.
The reason of it was it's questionable.
The people there didn't want to be there. Most of them, the people fighting don't want to be there, you're going to have a hard time.
Absolutely.
Whenever you force people to fight, they're not going to fight as well as they would have if they were like enthusiastic and were like, we're going to get those Japanese. See, how dare they bomb Hawaii? It's not a state yet. We're going to make it one of these days, but it's still one of our territories. See,
it's ours. Goddamn it,
it's ours. Damn it, and we're going to take it back.
Well, you know how we know? Because we park boats there.
That's right. They drop bombs. Next thing you know, things are blown up and everybody's a lesbian. I don't know why that would happen, but I feel like that would be a 40s guy spear. They drop bombs in the water. I don't know. It affects the supply and the food, and everyone turns lesbian, even the fellas. I don't understand it. It's very strange.
It's fucking ridiculous.
Why did that come from?
I have no idea.
Okay, so Paul Pauly.
That's what it is. So we're the first one.
Exactly. So Paul Pauly, his father is a police officer too. So his father's like he's a cop, and his son goes to Vietnam, and he signed up for Vietnam. Paul Pauly did, and so it's a kind of that kind of traditional family, and a lot of times in small towns too. In Vietnam, it was a sense of pride for people to sign up, and
also it was
seen Born on the 4th of July. They were excited to fucking go. Some of the guys,
also,
not all of them.
It felt like the government was on our side at that time. Well, like that's what the consensus view was. Everybody was
kind of. Well, this was the end of that.
Right. That's my point. Like today, like we were attacked on our soil, and people were like, "I'm not fucking signing up for that."
Yeah,
and it's because we felt like those people were not for us.
Not to be plus, we had no idea who the fuck we were really. Who exactly are we fighting now?
What's their uniform look like?
What's the and in what country?
What flag do they fight under?
So they said they're here, but we're going. Okay, all right. We'll still be there. Okay.
All right.
That's what happens.
Fuck that.
So the son though, he goes to Vietnam. Like I said, his dad's an Appleton police officer for 30 years. He goes to Vietnam. He comes back and he starts going to college. He goes to Nicollet College, which is in Rhinelander, nearby here. And while he's there, he meets a lady.
Hell yeah.
Who is one of his instructors.
Oh!
Ooh, hot for teacher.
Fucking taboo.
Yeah, this is good stuff here. Hey, he's 22 and shit, but it's still, and he's like a war veteran.
Yeah.
It's not exactly like she's, plucking
It's a bit more of a man at 22 than I was.
Yeah, I would say. He's seen brains explode. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, he's seen way more than most of your average
vagina ain't no big
22-year-old now. Yeah. A 32-year-old lady's vagina isn't going to scare this one away. Not that it would scare anyone away, but, he's a young guy. He's like, oh, I'm on board.
Yeah.
I'm on board. So, he meets a woman named Sandra Sorinsky, who is his instructor. It's his English instructor. Okay. And, so he's...
Oh, that's so dirty.
He's got a thing. Yeah, it sounds hot. This is kind of... This is fun.
Shakespeare being thrown about.
This is fucking... This is fine. Yeah. You know what I mean? She's born in 1946. She's a little bit older than him. And, they hit it off. And like I said, he was in war and shit. He comes back. So, they hit it off. They hook up. This sounds like a dream.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it would sound wonderful, except the problem is she's married.
Of course she is.
Yeah, she's not single
What
at all.
the
So that's the problem here. That's the issue. So that's,
her husband's not going to be happy.
He's not going to be happy, and Paul's not going to be thrilled.
He doesn't know?
Oh, he knows, but
okay.
he likes her, and we'll talk about this whole thing. She's married to a man named Roger. Roger Lee Surinsky.
Oh.
He's born in 1944, so he's 2 years older than her.
Could have been Roger. That could have
been
really
Roger. Roger Surinsky Roger. And Sandra.
Yeah.
So Sandra Surinsky and Roger Surinsky. Now, Roger, to talk about his family, we've talked about like World War II before, where we've mentioned like, it's so funny too, because we will say like, hey, listen, military guys, we know you're badass, we know all that shit. You didn't beat Hitler, though. Calm down. Right. Just as a joke. And we have military guys that'll email us, not mad at all. They're like, dude, totally.
You're so
like,
right.
You're fucking, that's crazy shit. You know what I mean? No insult taken.
Right.
We have a story I found in the newspaper from 1943. Yes, I found... I love newspaper archives.
To find that.
So I found a newspaper article from 1943 about Roger's dad, just to tell you where he comes from. Okay, a background. This is what the article said. He talks about it's about combat shit in World War II.
Yeah.
And it says that some officer nominates side gunner Sergeant Henry A. Surinsky, who is Roger's dad, of Glenwood City, Wisconsin, as the quote airman's airman of the crew.
Wow.
Surinsky earned his crew laurels on a mission in which the plane went in at medium height to attack what the crew thought was a merchant ship. It turned out to be two small war vessels, which sent up terrific anti-aircraft fire, ripping through the bomb bay. Coming through the bottom of the cabin, one shell went clear through, dropping its firing pin, piercing the top and exploding, scattering shrapnel through the ship. The crew recovered the firing pin for a souvenir.
What the shit?
Recovered a firing pin for a souvenir, see? And they gave it to a lesbian. Also, 3 Zero fighters appeared simultaneously.
Oh my God.
The bomber was shot up badly. The rudders were only partially usable. One shell exploded almost in Surinsky's face. A piece gashed his hand and another tore a hole through his lip, slamming him back against the ship's armor with terrific force. Surinsky, half conscious and his face a welter of blood, merely shook his head, dropped a piece of his goggles out of his eye, and went back to his machine gun.
Unbelievable.
His fire drove the Zeros from the crippled bomber's side.
Hank is amazing.
Jesus Christ. Okay, no matter what, nobody has done anything like that in a long time, is what we're getting at.
That's incredible.
That's insane. That's what we mean about those guys were just a different...
And also, the writer is amazing. To use the word terrific in that context is fucked up.
Yeah, it is. It's fucking awesome. Yeah, I love the vernacular from the 40s.
Threw him against the armor of the ship with terrific force.
With terrific force.
No!
Like a horny lesbian going after another lesbian.
It was terrific.
It's insane that all my references have to do with lesbians, but I'm very interested in them. I don't know what to tell you.
They're terrific.
It's the 40s. I don't know much about them, but I feel like watching them would be a terrific experience. Yes, so that's where he comes from. So he comes from solid stock, we'll say. If that's your dad,
holy shit,
you can't bitch.
And also, you got kind of a high bar to clear.
Yeah.
You better be terrific.
Only that, plus you can't complain about shit.
Yeah.
You can't complain that you don't want to do this. You can't complain I don't want to do chores. Be like, did you I'd slap that article down every time. Do you see what I did? You see what I was doing while you were a baby, you little pussy? You were sipping from your mom's tit while I was fighting
pulling
off
goggles
Zeros.
Out of my face.
Pulling shrapnel out of my eyeball so I can shoot more.
Right.
Yeah, pussy. So I feel
not to like pull this shit out of me to go climb into a bed, to get back on my goddamn gun
to
and
do
shoot
more.
Zeros.
Yeah, not to stop. To drive to actually win now. I can't just go, I'm done now. I've been hit. I'm done. No, I'm done.
That's
for the
what
day.
I would do.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'm done for the day.
I've been hit, you guys. Who's shift change?
I think it's in my mouth. I got something in my eye. Hold on. Anybody have some drops or something? There's something in there. I can taste it. By that time, they're coming in and they've killed us all. That's the problem. Whereas these guys were just like, well, better get that goggle out of my eye and keep on shooting.
They're coming in with a bomber, and they're like, oh, that's not a merchant ship at all.
No,
and there's bombs in our fucking
planes
cargo hold.
It's crazy.
Jesus Christ.
But that generation, you can't do that with. It's the same thing. I've told the story, if new listeners, if you haven't heard, my grandmother, who grew up in Italy, Nazi-occupied Italy during World War II when she was a kid. I would go to her and complain about things. And one specific time I complained, I believe it was about I couldn't watch TV past a certain time in my room or something very, very petty, but I was super upset about it. And I went to my grandmother thinking she would take my side and yell at my mom and be like, you be nice to that kid. And I told her my whole sob story, and I was super sad. She took a long pause and she said, "Ma, when I was a little girl in Italy, we used to hide in the hay so the Nazi soldiers wouldn't rape us." And I went, "Oh, all right then."
So go to bed, you little bastard.
Yeah, the TV's not that big. Oh, we'll talk about it later. We'll just talk about it. I'm good. I'm going to go back.
I'm going to go sleep in the
to
dark.
what I was doing. I'm all right. Yeah, so that puts shit in perspective.
You were just going to fall asleep anyway and leave that shit on all night.
Yeah, and no Nazis were coming to rape me, so that's a plus. I know there was zero threat of that happening in Wappingers Falls, New York in 1986. I don't think there was much threat of the Nazi soldiers coming to rape me. So at least not the soldiers anyway. Right. So Roger grows up with his dad and his mom there in a small farm, on a small family farm in St. Croix County. He was active in the 4-H club, church activities. He's a singer. Yeah. I found a bunch of things in the paper about him winning contests in the high school. Yeah, Roger. Wow. In the high school, like, they would have like the, choir shows.
Moon River contest.
Yeah, they still do that. My daughter's choir does that too. They do that and at the schools, and he would win like best tenor all the time. He would he'd win a lot. He was very, very much, just considered a real in the like a 1950s, early 60s kid. He was considered perfect, upstanding, active in the church at the 4-H club and all that shit.
Lots of grease in his hair.
Tons of no grease. He's not a greaser.
But they all did that.
Yeah, they all kind of did that. You're right. But he has a cardigan on instead of a leather jacket.
Right.
So he's the other guys from The Outsiders, not the Emilio Estevez, Patrick Swayze, Rob Lowe clan.
He's got like 3 books and a belt slung over his shoulder.
That's exactly. Yeah. Now I found a wedding announcement and an article about a wedding that happened in 1962 up in the North Woods there, and it says, pink chrysanthemums and white gladioli decorated the altar. Mrs. Phil Limburg was organist with Roger Sarinsky as soloist. He sang True Love and the Lord's Prayer.
Oh,
so
he's alfalfa.
He's alfalfa.
Little rascal.
He's just a good kid, just a aw shucks kind of kid. He joins the Navy.
Hell yeah.
In the 60s there, kind of before Vietnam exploded, kind of a thing, like I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Oh no, I'm sorry, 19. Yeah, so he was early 60s. He did that. So he spent 2 years over in the East, in like the Far East over there, but not actually fighting in Vietnam. I think he was in like Okinawa for a while. All the places we kept bases after World War II.
Navy
pretty much.
ports.
Yeah, that's it. So he did all of that. He ends up returning home to attend the University of Wisconsin River Falls, where he met Sandra in 1967.
Got it.
So he meets her 1967, and I picture him with like black frame glasses. You know what I mean? He's got that sort of thing. Yeah. It's 1967. They go out for about a year, and then they get married in 1968.
May as well.
So that's what you did back then. I did find, though, he has some problems, Jimmy. He's not as squeaky clean as you think he is.
No.
4-H club, Navy, singing tenors among the chrysanthemums. It's not all chrysanthemums and gladiolis, Jimmy. We'll put it that way. There's other things.
Yeah.
I found that he had to pay a $29.50 fine.
Good Lord, that's steep.
In 1966.
That's like a whole car.
For, quote, illegal truck speed.
Oh.
So.
Speed.
Not trucker speed.
Right.
They mean he was going a little fast in his truck.
Not meth.
No, he didn't have illegal trucker speed. Only 28.50 there, or 29.50. So illegal truck speed there, not okay. Then 1967, good Lord, he paid a fine of $65.
Wow.
To the town of Longwood for speeding.
Again.
He's got a lead foot.
Listen,
lead foot. We've covered some bad people, Jimmy. Vile human beings. Remember that? Yeah. We've covered. By the way, vile human beings is going to happen.
It's happening.
We're working on the artwork now, but we have the social media domains.
Yeah.
So it is at vile human beings on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
We own it.
You can follow it now. That's our real. Nobody put that up. That's our real. That's actually us. That's we're going to put up artwork soon, and it's coming. So So check that shit out.
Buckle in.
More details later. It's going to be
all speeding.
Amazing.
All people speeding.
It's just speeders from the North Woods. That's all it is. Speeders from the Upper Peninsula.
Yeah.
We're going to have jaywalkers from the Montana region.
Yeah.
That's going to be a good episode.
North of Kentucky, south of Toronto.
Oh, boy.
All of them.
All of them. But no, it will be considered vile human beings. But this here, 2 speeding tickets in 2 years. I don't know what to say about this man. I'm ready to throw away the key right now. So February 1968, Roger and Sandra get married. Sorinsky, as they're married, they end up having 3 kids later on. He was a speech therapist at the Wabeno Leona School District there. Also at the Headwaters Achievement Center in Rhinelander. He and his wife here, he and Sandra built a home in Lake Minnetonka, I guess.
Sounds right.
Sounds right.
Yeah.
They built a home there, so they built. It's 1968. They get married. They have kids. They build a home. Like this is very
Leave It to Beaver.
Small town America. You know, that sort of thing. He returns to college to work on his master's degree.
God, Jesus.
Yeah, it's just getting.
He's so driven.
He's very driven. Well, I mean, his dad fought off the. I mean, if that's your dad.
Yeah.
Either you're going to be a complete just bum that will do nothing, or you're going to have some sort of drive.
You're either going to live up to it, or you're not even going to try. There's no in between.
Yeah, you either heard what he was saying or you didn't, kind of a thing. Like you either read that article or not. So
or missed it.
Yeah, so he ends up graduating from graduate school. He's a speech therapist. They have 3 children, Justin, Heidi, and Travis, which just sounds very, nice in middle America there. Mrs. Sandra here becomes a full-time faculty member at the Nicollet College, like we talked about. She is it's about 1972. She becomes a full-time faculty member, so everything's going well for them.
Yeah.
1972, when she gets that job, right around that time, she files for divorce from Roger.
Why?
Which is strange. Yeah. But then later on in the year, she withdraws the petition for divorce. So if just problems. It's if you're a young couple with 3 kids and you don't know, they new jobs and pressures and who knows what happened.
He's all she knows, and maybe she's just like, maybe I want to try something else. I don't know. I don't know if this is what I want.
Who knows? But one thing she did not lack for is trying, quote, something else. Yeah. Especially with dudes.
Yeah.
She liked the fellas. Old Sandra. So Sandra was Paul Pauly's English literature instructor at Nicollet College there. And but over a period of years, this isn't the first affair she's had, is the thing. Over a period of years, she's like notorious for this. She's like William H. Macy's wife in Boogie Nights. Like, literally, like...
My wife's in the driveway with a cock in her ass.
And he has the same, and with an ass in her cock. Right. Yeah, he has the same reactions, though, because for the most part, William H. Macy just would turn around, and that's this guy. That's what he does. He just fucking is like... He wants to keep his family together, as we keep telling everybody. He has 3 kids. Yeah. He's very concerned with that. He's very traditional. Yeah. They live in the fucking North Woods of Wisconsin, small town America. His dad's Mr. It's the airman's airman.
Right.
Everybody, he just wants it to be together. He's
Charlie Bailey Gates from Me, Myself, and Irene.
Yeah, he's trying hard
wants
here.
It to go away.
So he finds out, though, that Sandra had a series of extramarital affairs, all of which he was aware of.
Yeah.
He's aware. He ends up finding out about all of them. She would tell him about him because she felt bad about it because he was a nice guy and she would feel bad. She's not a terrible person.
Yeah.
She just has this, whatever this is that she needs to do. Apparently the affair started in about 1973. The problem is they were with a range of people. Yeah. It was everybody from students to other faculty members that she worked with to a 55-year-old ex-convict who had just gotten out of prison and was enrolled in the classes as some like court-ordered continuing education thing.
Oh, God. Her type is a dick.
Yeah.
That's it.
I mean, this guy was more than 20 years older than her and just gotten out of prison. And so Roger was a little upset, about it. And I assume sad. He also knew of an affair that she had with another instructor at Nicollet, which you don't want someone to be.
No. Not there,
workplace,
not at work.
Yeah. Ugh. And he said she told him about the affairs. They went on at teacher conventions. So they'd go away to conventions and she'd have an affair with this guy.
Have a couple of drinks, hear something nice about herself all of a sudden.
Yeah. And so she also, they were like kind of plan that that's when they hooked up.
Oh,
I think he was
no.
married too, so they were like,
God,
we hook up when we have conventions, and then she had a lot of other boyfriends around also.
Road gash.
Yeah, she had a lot of road gash.
Yeah.
So Roger says he wasn't angry about the affairs. He tells people. He consistently tells everybody that his aim is to keep the family together, but he says he just grows frustrated that he can't make any progress with his wife. No matter how he reacts, no matter how caring or whatever he is, she just keeps going out and having affairs, and that's never good, obviously, for a relationship.
It's terrible.
Now two of the students here. At the time, 1976 comes around, late 1975, early 1976, and she's having an affair with two students at the same time.
Oh, my God.
As two of her students at the same time. She has a sexual relationship here with Robin Jensen and Paul Pauly at the same time. Now, Jensen considered, like, he thought of Pauly as a rival.
Really?
For her. Yeah, he wanted Sandra.
Yeah.
This Jensen guy, Robin Jensen, and he saw Pauly as...
Can you imagine?
This is crazy. I'm going to get that married teacher who's having an affair with two of her students. No, she's going to be mine.
No, she's not.
No, she's not going to be anybody's. She's hers.
Yeah.
And she's going to just do what she feels like. Yeah.
She doesn't have time for you because she is hers.
She's got plenty of other shit going on. Did you just get out of prison? Because that's another
thing,
apparently.
yeah.
So Paul Pauly and Robin Jensen are considered like they're kind of have a rivalry over this whole thing, and especially from Jensen's point of view. Jensen is kind of, he's got that eye on Pauly, like, you fucking bastard.
You're doing so great
taking
today,
my
James.
woman.
You got 4 people with motives right now.
Oh, it's all good. You know how I roll, baby.
This is amazing. This is such a story.
No, you know how to put it together. That's why people are like, they offer their research help, and they're like, I'll help. And I'm like, you can't write it though. I'd have to do it anyway because I know how I want it to go, and you don't know what I want. Damn it. So. 1976. Okay. He's been married to Sandra for 8 years. They have 3 children, and she's had innumerable, just a voluminous amount of affairs here. Roger is completing his master's degree at this point in communicative disorders, which is a field that he worked for years prior when he came to school, and Sandra's still working at Nicollet College. Late 1975, they have an informal separation agreement. Okay. They agree to separate, but it's not paperwork involved here.
Got it.
So informal. So they made like an agreement though. Because they're both like educated people, and they're not just like, well, I'm leaving. I don't know. I'll talk to you in 2 weeks. Like they actually like wrote out a thing.
It's the guy working on his master's.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And she's a college graduate, very intelligent. They're both very intelligent people. So they set out this thing. They're not able to see each other for the next month. Okay. That's part of their agreement. They're going to separate, not see each other, not muddy the waters of anything like that.
How are you going to do that with 3 kids?
That's a tough thing. Yeah. So they're going to try though. They're going to do this. This is from late February into March of 1976 is when they're talking about doing this. So on March 2nd, 1976, Roger is driving from River Falls to Chicago. Yeah. And he's decided that while he's doing that, before he goes to Chicago, he wanted to stop and see Sandra. Okay. Doesn't ask her, though. Yeah. He hasn't seen her in a couple of weeks. The agreement is he's not going to see her for a month. Okay. And so he doesn't tell her he's coming. He doesn't ask her or anything like that. He just goes, I'm going to stop by and see her. I miss her. Or whatever it is. He could miss her, or he could say, I want to see what she's up to, or both. I mean, who the fuck knows? Nobody knows anybody's motivations when it comes to shit like this. Yeah. When you put jealousy and love and weird shit like that in the mix, people are...
It's all unpredictable.
You have no idea what people's thought processes are. Like, you can't be like, well, he's obviously coming from here. It's like, who knows where he's coming from? So he ends up detouring off his route here to drive by. He drives by his home, which is their home, and in March 3rd, he drives by his home that he's living in now since they're separated, and then it's late night March, so it's late March 2nd, early into March 3rd. He's on his way to Crandon. He is tired, obviously. He said he had a long week of final exams, and he hadn't slept a lot. He's been grading finals and doing shit like that. So it's been a long week. He drives through Rhinelander, which is the town that Nicollet College is in, and he sees his wife's car in Rhinelander. It is parked in front of the Wonder Hotel, which doesn't sound great. Which funny that the worst part of it is he knows for a fact that that's where Paul Pauly lives.
Oh no!
So he knows that Paul Pauly lives in this hotel, and he knows his their car is outside. So.
The man lives in a hotel.
He lives in a hotel.
God damn it. And he's your student.
It's not great.
This is not something where you want your kids involved with.
No.
Fucked
She's not
up.
saying we're going over to the Wonder Hotel to see Paul. I don't think she's taking the kids over there. And he's like,
my weekend. We're at the hotel.
I prepared a beautiful dinner for you and the kids. It's wonderful here at the motel.
All the KFC you can shake a stick at.
Oh, tons of it. You know, that Kentucky fried chicken. I thought you were going there, and I waited for it. And I'm like, all right, if he's not going to take it, I'll take it.
All the Kentucky you can handle.
It's like, if you're not going to take the shot from 3, I'll pop one from the corner.
Pietragallo for 3.
I don't give a fuck. I'll throw it down. Come on, man.
And Zing goes the strings.
Hey, that's right. So he sees her there. Now let's kind of take a break. He drove through. He's had a long day. He's tired. He sees her car parked outside the hotel.
Yeah.
Now, what has she been doing today?
Really?
We find out. Well,
you got a video?
I do actually. I have a surveillance video I found from an archive. So Sandra and Pauly spent the day and evening of March 2nd together. So they were together all day. They had sexual relations more than once that day. And then they were at his hotel. And then at about midnight, they drove to her home there, because it's not a hotel.
Gross.
It's less sleazy. So Sandra and Pauly were walking up toward the house. They get out of the car, and she is walking like ahead of him, because usually when you're the person with the keys, you walk in front. That's just how it works. You don't show up at the door first, and then what are you going to do? Open the door now?
Sidestep it.
Yeah, you need.
You walk up to the door and then be like, I can't do shit now.
Whoever
this
has
is the
keys
end
goes
of the line
first.
for me.
Yeah, I'll hang back, and when it opens,
This is weird.
And you try to get the spacing, so it's just enough to, as it opens, that's when you're getting there. So you're not standing behind them, pressuring them.
Otherwise, you get up there and they're like, move out of the way. I got to get back down the steps, because these are not built for 2 people to walk side by side, because it's a fucking entryway.
Yeah, you know how that goes. So they're walking up to the door. She's in front with the keys. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, out of the darkness, it's past midnight in the North Woods. So, I mean, it's even in a full moon, it's fucking dark. There's nothing up there. She hears out of nowhere, hey, Pauly, and recognizes it as Roger's voice. So she turns around and sees a flash and sees Pauly jump up into the air and fall to the ground, yelling no as he does it. She runs up to Pauly and goes over him, looks up, and sees Roger standing there with a shotgun in his hand. So she, watched Roger shoot Pauly pretty good.
So Wyatt Earp.
Very Wyatt Earp. And he's still alive at the moment on the ground, struggling. She tried to go in and call the ambulance, but he grabbed her by the scarf that she was wearing and dragged her back outside toward Paul in the yard. At this point, Paul is still bleeding and moving and alive and struggling. So he's trying to do all of this. At this point, Roger looks at her and said, quote, I'm sorry, not Jesus Christ. Paul Pauly looks at Sandra and says, I'll never touch you again. Which... I've learned my lesson, is what he said while he's got a chest full of pellet wounds.
Right, that wasn't Salt Rock.
Yeah, no, but he actually looked up and said, I'll never touch you again. I'm good now. So she then again tried to run in and call for help, but Roger was not having it. Roger goes in. He's extremely upset, like she's rarely ever seen him before. He rips the phone out of the wall and messes up the other phone, disables that, and beats the living shit out of her in the kitchen, and then just sits down at the table with the shotgun and sits for a while.
Where the fuck are the kids?
We'll talk about that now. Kids are not here.
Okay.
Kids are probably, I assume, with a grandparent or something. Maybe they're with Hank. Let's hope they're with Hank, learning some...
they're so safe if they're with Hank.
Oh, Hank's not taking any shit.
Jesus.
Even if some zeros come up on the side of the house, he's going to take care of business.
He'll throw hammers at them.
Oh, absolutely. Nazi rapists, he's got it covered. So now... That's what she saw from her side. Okay. Now Roger, he says later on that when he saw his wife's station wagon parked at the Wonder Hotel in Rhinelander, he says he experienced a quote buzzing feeling, which is adrenaline. You're upset
and rage.
So what he did to try to null this out, he went and got a 6-pack of beer.
Hell yeah.
And fucking drank the whole 6-pack of beer as he drove from Rhinelander to Crandon.
Drink about it.
He's like, drinking and thinking. It's like the Nas lyric.
Hell yeah.
Yes. Doing 90 on the Franklin D. Roosevelt, no seatbelt, drinking and thinking.
Shit, yeah.
That's the fucking...
That's my kind of man.
That's the lyric there.
Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about a healthy, delicious item, Hero Bread. And we're both trying to get healthier this new year. Jimmy had a eye-opening doctor's appointment and things like that. So we're trying to get healthier, and I'm telling you right now, this Hero Bread is a good step in this direction. It's delicious, and it is really good for you, and it's really excellent. They have the sliced bread is good, the bagels, the tortillas. I know you've been
they're terrific.
Ranting about the tortillas. They're so good. With Hero Bread, you can focus on your health goals and still indulge in the soft, fluffy experience you love, but guilt-free. I really love the little Hawaiian rolls, too.
Yeah.
They're so good. They're so good. The Hawaiian rolls, they're legit. They're fluffy. They're exactly how you want them to be. You'd never know it's low-carb and high-fiber bread from the texture. You get the soft, fluffy experience you know and love with your savory breakfast sandwich, late-night grilled cheese, Taco Tuesday. Do it. No compromises, just flavor, ultra-low net carbs, 0 grams of sugar, high in fiber. It's fantastic. Hero Bread is offering 10% off your order. Go to hero.co and use the code SmallTownMurder at checkout. That's SmallTownMurder at HERO.co.
And now back to the show.
Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show and tell you all sorts of good stuff about Chime. That's what I'm talking about. There's so many extra fees you have to pay in life. Everything. You go to the airline, there's an extra ticket on that. There's extra fee on every fees and fees, hotels, fees, all this type of stuff. We're trying to make progress, and the next thing you know, here comes another fee coming at you, and it's more money than you expected, and your whole math is thrown off, and it's awful. Learn more at chime.com/smalltownmurder. Chime is great with that stuff. I mean, you can't beat if your things are a little tight, especially around the holidays or after the holidays. You need that money a couple days early, or you go grocery shopping. You got a car payment due. There's so many things that don't cross over exactly how you want them to cross over. Make progress toward a better financial future with Chime. Open your account in 2 minutes at chime.com/smalltownmurder. That's chime.com/smalltownmurder. Feels like progress. Banking services and debit cards provided by Bancorp Bank N.A. or Stride Bank N.A., members FDIC. SpotMe eligibility requirements and overdraft limits apply. Boosts are available to eligible Chime members enrolled in SpotMe and are subject to monthly limits. Timing depends on submission of payment file. Fees apply at out-of-network ATMs.
And now back to the show.
So he drives there to the house. He ends up going into the house. This is before they arrive. He shows up. He goes into the house. He says he played piano for a while in the house, which should calm you down, I would think. Playing piano. Unless he's a fucking psychopath. Fucking rage. He's just in there playing Great Balls of Fire over and over again, trying to...
There's some fucking Dracula theme.
Yeah. Dun, 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 dun.
The Jaws theme. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah. Or the Halloween, the Exorcist. Dun, 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 dun. He's just doing... No, he's. I pictured him just playing like some classical music.
Tchaikovsky.
Yeah, he's gonna just something lame though, like Mahler or something like awful like that, some bad shit like that. So anyway, he plays piano, and he says while he played piano, he thought about his wife and children.
Yeah.
So he sung "Our House is a Very, Very, Very Fine House" a couple of times, and then he cried.
Yeah.
He cried.
Starts singing "Oh Susanna."
Yeah, that's how it goes. So at this point, he said, as he's he's got a buzz going. He's playing piano, thinking about his kids. He sees car lights. At this point, he says he left the house and walked outside to a big oak tree, and he hides behind the oak tree. By the way, when he pulled up, his car isn't in the driveway. He parked his car
down the block.
So he was trying not to be seen. So that's the thing that's weird there. He does that. He ends up seeing a car. He says he saw a car stuck near the foot of the road, and he heard a man out by the driveway, by the by the road in the driveway. Yeah. He said a car was stuck and he heard a man outside swearing, is what he says. He says he told he says at that point he returned to the house and got a gun from the gun closet. He said he didn't know who it was swearing. So then he says he came back and he said all he knows is he heard an explosion and saw a flash and a shadow. And he says the next thing he knows, next thing he remembers, his wife was telling him that he had just shot Paul and that he was replying to her that he didn't believe that he did. That was all he remembered. He said at that point he thought about suicide. He said he couldn't, he didn't know what to do. He said when he saw Paul and when he saw Paul up close and he saw kind of death by shotgun looks like, he said he changed his mind about suicide at that point, 'cause he said that doesn't look fun at all.
Also, Paul was shot in the chest and arm and shit like that.
He's a mess.
That's not where you shoot yourself when you're committing suicide.
He still just went, ew. I think it was just a ew.
I'm gonna look way worse. I'm gonna go for the head.
I feel like he just went gross. That's gross. I don't want to be all gross. Yeah, doesn't look cool. I like the shirt. No, never mind. So it's at this point where the Crandon police chief, who is an L.W. Dodd is his name, he receives a phone call. This is 3:40 in the morning. He receives a call at his home, and it's Roger. Roger says, quote, "Bill, I need you out here. This is Roger Sarinsky. I just shot and killed a friend." That's what he tells him. So this is, interesting to tell the sheriff here. He's the sheriff is obviously interested. The sheriff says, quote, "Is he dead?" Which is a fair question.
There was no conclusion in that sentence, sir.
No, you just said you shot a guy and said killed a guy. So he says, "Is he dead?" Roger's response is, quote, "He better be. It happened over an hour ago." I left him out there to suffer and bleed to death, so I would hope he's suffocated in his own blood by now, right? He's choked on his own bile and blood, I assume, by this point, correct, right?
I would hope so. It happened an hour ago?
Christ, what the fuck kind of answer is that?
Why are you calling me just now, Rod?
Yeah.
Where have you been, sir?
Where's the ambulance? I think we're a little late on this one.
I shot him. I went and played some Stephen Foster.
Yeah, I had some stuff going on. Yeah. Played Beethoven's Fifth. I had that.
Some Frederick fucking Chopin.
Fucking Chopin. He hates the Nazis, though. No Wagner.
Right.
It's not. So anyway.
Whoever that is.
Hitler's favorite composer.
Okay.
That's the guy.
I imagine he had one.
Yeah, he did. Wagner.
Of course.
So that's the guy. So, now he shows up, Sheriff Dodd shows up here, and he says he's got to be like, it's 3:40 in the morning.
Yeah.
He woke up in what the hell's going on now, driving in his car through the dark, and he's going to show up to this mess? Holy shit. He says he found the Sarinsky seated in the kitchen when he arrived. He said an open, single-shot, 12-gauge shotgun was on the floor, and the telephone was ripped from the wall and also on the floor. So the scene is you can see what happened. You can put two and two together if you're an experienced officer here.
Pretty quick.
Roger refused to make a statement, even though he already made one, but he doesn't want to make an official one now that once there's right spread and that sort of thing. Right. He says he's already contacted an attorney, and so Dodd said that he arrested Roger immediately because he couldn't be like, well, all right, looks like my work's done. Well, call me in the morning. We'll see how this works out.
This one's solved. Good night, everybody.
Yeah, it's all right. Good job. And hats off to everybody. Now, while he en route to jail, he's being transported to jail in the squad car. The squad car gets stuck in the snow.
Jesus Christ.
So this is interesting.
Yeah.
So what do you do when you have a prisoner and a squad car stuck in the snow? He went by himself. He didn't call another officer. He literally heard there was a shooting here. Person with a gun. Who knows what's going on? He just showed up by himself at 4:00 in the morning, knocking on the fucking door.
Wow.
Which is crazy. Like, as far as police procedure goes, you bring 8 guys with you at that point.
Yeah.
We know there's a shot person and definitely a gun.
And probably a dead body because it happened an hour ago.
And someone possibly unstable and armed.
Right.
Let's bring everybody. Instead, let's bring a couple at least. He just goes by himself, picks him up, takes him to the station.
I don't want to wake it. Listen, I feel like shit at 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't want to wake anybody else up. I know. I don't want anybody else feel like I feel right now.
Bob's kid had a basketball game last night. I know it went late, so they didn't even have time to make any. They just had some Kentucky Fried Chicken on the way home, and I don't know.
Coffee's not even made yet.
You know how it is. I just figured I wouldn't bother nobody. They get stuck in the snow. So Dodd tries to push it out, and he can't push it out by himself. So he lets Roger out, uncuffs him, and this man helps push the car out of the snow.
To be arrested.
Listen, Roger, I know I just arrested you for murder, and you ain't got no reason to help me, but you want to get out here and give me a push? No problem, Sheriff. And he gets out and helps give him a push.
Wow.
I assume they get out of the snow. He recuffs him and fucking drives him to the...
This is incredible.
What a weird... Right away, we're in excessively weird territory here.
Unbelievable.
Autopsy. Dr. Richard Moorhead is the pathologist. The autopsy revealed that Paulie bled to death.
Yeah.
Bad way to go, because it was over time. From a shotgun wound in the abdomen.
Oh, no.
So he bled to death from
a belly shot.
Yeah, this was not an organ, and nobody hit the heart or anything. He bled out. He said that the shot was fired at a level plane at a distance from... The level plane's important. Yeah. Remember that. At a distance from 3 to 25 feet.
So it's leveled at him.
Yeah, like you hold it, hold it from the hip.
Shot.
Boom,
yep.
Pow. He identified shotgun shell wadding and pellets that he removed from the body. He said Paulie would have died within an hour after he was shot. Yeah. So he would have laid in the yard in the freezing cold, fucking bleeding out, which is terrible. I would think an awful way to go. Also, some authorities say that he died earlier, and they're trying to figure out when he died exactly, but it wasn't immediately, and it wasn't great, but no longer than an hour.
I've seen it.
No, it's bad.
I saw it online.
Bad shit.
And an Arabic fella got shot in the leg because he
Arabic fella? What are you, 80? You sounded like an 80-year-old man right there. Now, sweetie, calling a waitress. Sweetie, could you come here for a minute? Let me tell you about this Arabic fella. I'll take another coffee, darling. Thanks a lot.
Gentlemen, I don't know. It was in another country. I think it was in the Middle East somewhere. And the mother was
Arabic fellas
where the Arabic fellas live.
Where all of them hang out. Yeah.
It's either there in New York.
Yeah, most of them hang out there.
And his mother was protesting with the police not to arrest him, and he didn't want to be arrested, and they shot him in the thigh.
Jesus.
And hit the fucking...
The femoral artery?
Yeah.
No.
Jesus. And it's
Blood
like,
out.
It's spouting.
Oh, yeah. It goes
and
quick.
he was going in and out
quick.
of consciousness.
Oh, yeah.
On the ground, he'd like be out and like it looked like he was dead, and then he'd like sit back up and start screaming. It was fucking horrifying.
Horrific, yeah.
Horrifying.
How'd you like to do that in the yard?
I can't imagine.
When it's fucking and there's snow on the ground. It's early March in Wisconsin in the North Woods. It's cold outside in the middle of the night.
Belly, James.
It's awful, man. On the snow too, because you're cold enough if you're bleeding out and you're lying in the snow, which is not good. So let's find out what other people think about this whole thing. Let's town reaction, kind of what Small Town Murder's about here. He's described by others as a constructive citizen. Yeah. He performed volunteer work in the community. He aided handicapped children in several different programs, both in the military and when he got home. That was one of his specialties. Even Sandra, Sarah's my wife.
That's your right.
His wife is Sandra. Even Sandra told the police that he was a, quote, very, very kind and gentle person to others, if not to her. So he's a dick to me, but to everyone else in the world, he's nice to.
Right.
Several witnesses, people later on now would tell police that, because they would start asking around. They're asking people, what's the background here? And they find out she's having an affair with this one. This makes more sense.
And everybody else.
Yeah, and then they would find out that Roger knew about these affairs. It's not because they thought he must have just found out about it tonight. No. He drives by, sees the car at the hotel, comes here. It's not like that. They talk to people and they say, well, what was his reaction? Was he, because they want to hear that he was running around everywhere in front of people going, I'm going to fucking kill that bitch. Right. How dare she cheat on me? I'll fucking shoot whoever she's fucking cheating with. I'm going to shoot him with a shotgun in the stomach. That's what they want.
Right.
Instead, they get several people saying that Roger's reaction to Sandra's infidelities were too good, like too good of a reaction, that he failed to express even indirectly any anger to her or the guy she was with.
He just takes it as his own failure?
He just takes it William H. Macy style and just was like, whatever. Paulie and his roommates one time, Roger went to Paul's house one time, or his room, I should say, at the Wonder Hotel, went over there to ask him to leave Sandra alone. Not threatened him, didn't say, hey, leave my fucking wife alone. He said, I'd like to ask you, as like a human being, if you would please stop going out with my wife. It's for her own good. She's going through a weird time right now. She has 3 kids, and we're trying to work stuff out. And
no matter how much cock she asks for,
I understand.
Give her 0
she's going to want cock, and you're going to have cock. That's the thing.
You're going to have so much.
Your name's Paulie. You're slinging dick, I feel like. So, You're going to have the cock.
You're a 22-year-old American hero.
Keep it to yourself. Right. Just keep the cock in the pants for a while. Right. She said it's for her own good, just till we figure out what's going on. I'm not telling you never see her again, whatever, just till we figure out what's happening and let her clear her head. So his roommates named Roger, quote, St. Francis because of his forgiving attitude and lack of hostility. They go, just fucking St. Francis over here.
Goddamn sweetheart.
He comes over, you're fucking his wife, and he comes over and is nice to everyone and politely asks you to stop. That's pretty goddamn weird behavior.
12-pack, and he's like, here, these are for you guys.
That's weird behavior. Yeah, I don't even want
to have one. I'm not even going to make this awkward to where I'm sitting around drinking with you. Just take this, enjoy it on your own time.
I believe Kentucky Fried Chicken delivers. I'll make an order. I'll put an order in. It's on me. We'll sit down and have a couple of legs and a breast over this bad boy. Talk about it. Wow.
Here, have a breast. Matter of fact, eat this breast and suck on this instead of my wife's.
Stay away from my wife's.
Put these breasts in your mouth, not my wife's.
Jesus.
Have these thighs, not my wife's.
I think that was Kentucky Fried Chicken's slogan for a while, actually. I think. Late 70s? Not my wife's. I believe it was maybe early 80s. I'm not good with dates, but possibly. I think it was.
Squeeze these thighs. Aren't they nice? Aren't they nice? Juicy?
Yeah. That's what it would be, I believe. Every time. So there's also, they talked to a Virginia Radke, who is a recreation director at the Headwaters Achievement Academy, and Timothy Pop, who is a speech pathologist and a friend of Roger's. They both say that Roger had talked to them about his marital problems previously, and they said that he did not appear to be angry and that he expressed the desire only to keep his family together. That's his desire was to keep his family together for his kids. Now, there's another theory here. This is fucking amazing. Yeah. The Reverend David Kellen, who is the Reverend at the Methodist Church in Crandon, he said, this is where the Serinskys went to church, so he knows these people. He didn't just look from afar. He actually knows them. He said he, quote, began his own investigation of Paulie's. The church is investigating this.
What?
Never mind the police. God wants to know who killed Paulie and why, God damn it. The Lord is asking me a question, and I'm going to find him an answer. So he's, what the fuck? No, we have cops. The church does not investigate murders.
You guys got fingerprinting brushes and shit? When did that happen? When did you guys get handcuffs?
Hold on. On the back of the pew there is our forensics laboratory that we have set up.
You got a beaker in the rectory.
The holy water station there. What the fuck are you talking about? Your own investigation?
Ridiculous.
So he started his own investigation of Paulie's slaying because he thought the Crandon police had overlooked things. Okay. So he said, no, what do you overlook? There's nothing to overlook. It's a really basic thing here.
3 people all accounted for.
Yeah, one of them's dead, one of them's got a gun. So, but we'll talk about it.
One of them's fucking both.
He said that it was, to the newspaper now he said this, that it was his, quote, guess that Mrs. Paulie, that Sandra, Mrs. Sarinsky, actually killed Paulie. That's his theory. Why? No reason why. Because it makes more sense to kill the person you're having an affair with rather than your husband to shoot him in the front yard when he's drunk after, no. So, yeah. Wow.
Cops are like, why do you think this? And he's like, I don't ask questions.
I don't ask
just
questions.
Give answers.
So you know what my job title is?
I don't ask questions.
I give
answers.
I give answers, but don't ask to see my work.
That's my job.
Yeah. Why? Because I know. That's why. I have faith that she did it.
Don't ask to see my work.
Yeah, don't ask to show the math. That's going to be we're going to have a problem then. So
there'll be no cross multiplication.
No. So March 25th, 1976 is his preliminary hearing, and they talk about him, hiding behind a tree and blah, blah, blah. Police in this hearing say he stepped out from behind the tree as the couple approached the house. He shot Paulie from a distance of 3 to 5 feet. He said that the Sarinsky and his wife then went inside the house where he beat the living shit out of her. She suffered black eyes and a skin down. When Dodge showed up, she was not looking good. She looked like she had been through some shit. Yeah. And Yeah. So now Roger, he was in jail under $200,000 bond, ended up having his bond reduced to $50,000 and being allowed to put up property. So they called it a $50,000 property only bond, and he is released from custody, which seems very light to just let a guy out who's just had a rage shotgun murder. Right. Let's keep him calm for a little while, okay? So he's just out and about. That's in March. Nothing ends up happening until his trial in October. So he's just hanging out for 6 months with, residue on him. Right. So October 76 is the trial. It took 8 hours to select a jury, because I guess they insisted that the defense insisted that potential jurors be quizzed privately in judges' chambers about what they've read or heard about the case. Because this is, like I said, a rural area. It's very remote. Right. It's the only incorporated town in the county. Right. So there's not a lot.
There's only like 4,000 people here, right?
2,000. 2,000. So there's not a lot around it. So
everybody knows.
Everybody knows. So that's the problem here. So all but 2 of the 24-member jury panel indicated that they actually had knowledge of the slaying. Only 2 people had never heard of it. A total of 99 Forest County residents were summoned for jury, but the judge excused nearly a third of them immediately because they knew the Serinskys. Wow. Not just, I heard the case, I know them personally. Right. I've dealt with it's a small town, so I mean you're gonna run into especially if you work at schools and shit. Jesus. You're gonna run into everybody at some point.
A third of them.
A third of these people. They had opinions about guilt or innocence, and they said that it would affect their objectivity. Because they couldn't do anything else. So they talk about whether he's going to plead guilty or not guilty for mental defect and all that sort of thing, or for innocent for that reason. They talk about all this shit. Now, the judge says that the trial could take about a week for everything, including sentencing, and if he's found guilty, and he intends to hold court on Saturdays and at night. So he's not fucking around. We're going to get this out of my courtroom.
We're working this overtime.
Yeah. The jury is sequestered in an area motel until the completion of the trial. I hope it's the Wonder.
Oh, that'd be great.
That'd be great.
Can you imagine?
I'm in Paul Pauly's room.
I'm sitting in his puddle.
Look at that. Jesus.
That's still moist.
It's still a little moist in here. And sticky. I got to call housekeeping. So the testimony begins after that. 7 men and 5 women on the jury. The district attorney, Kevin Kelly, he had an opening statement. He said evidence will show that this was after the sexual relations, and it pissed off Roger, and Serinsky beat his wife, ripped a phone out of the wall when he tried to call for help, and let Paul die out there. He might not have died, and they go through all of that. Now the defense's main thing here at the trial is they want to throw doubt upon everything, all the facts of the killing. Basically anything that Sandra says in her story of we came home, I turned around, saw Roger shoot him, all that. They want to say all that's bullshit. Yeah, even though there's a lot suggested by physical evidence to that. They suggest that another person, in their theory, Robin Jensen, the rival, the rival, is the one that shot her, that shot Paul. So that's their theory. And they said that he shot Pauly from the second story of the house. So, their theory is...
With a shotgun? He's fucking sniper rifling somebody?
Their theory is he went inside when nobody was home to wait in there, I assume, to bang Sandra, I don't know, probably. And then saw them coming in, saw that he was with Paul, and decided to do some sniping from the second story. With a shotgun. Right. And somehow make level entry wounds. Right. So, it's an odd theory.
It's a reach.
We'll say it's a bit of a reach.
It's a real magic pellet theory.
Yeah, they challenged the prosecutorial evidence on the angle of which the projectiles traveled, and pointed to a spent shotgun shell. I guess they found a spent shotgun shell somewhere in the second floor of the house. That's what they're going off of. But that might have been
on fucking opening, it could fly out.
He might have taken it hunting one time.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be.
That's a good point. It may not even be the one.
It might be from 10 years ago. We have no idea. It's you know how much fucking shotgun fire goes off in the North Woods of Wisconsin? I mean, seriously. I'm serious. You're right. It's so much. Yeah. There's shotgun shells everywhere. Yeah. So, So they also attempt to discredit Sandra's testimony, and they focused on her uncertainty as to whether she saw the flash of the gun when she was facing the house or facing Paul. Which doesn't matter because unless another person came, shot him, and then from the time it took her to turn from the house to Paul, switched places with Roger real fast and put the gun in his hand, it doesn't really matter what she saw.
Doesn't add up much.
No. The defense said they did succeed in showing that Jensen and both Robin Jensen and Sandra made inconsistent statements about how often they'd seen one another since the killing. Because they lied about, I guess they've been hooking up since the killing. She's like, well, I guess Paul's dead. I'll just fuck this guy instead.
Jesus.
So they've been they were lying to the police about
who benefits from him being dead.
Exactly.
Whose dick is wet.
Whose dick has got it. So they were kind of going on that theory of because they found inconsistencies with the private investigation of that they lied to the police about how much they see each other because it doesn't look good if they're seeing each other. And they probably said, hey, the prosecution probably said, if you could, don't hang out with that guy, please. That looks bad for us. But they finally get a witness to testify that Robin Jensen was with him on the night of March 2nd into March 3rd. So he has an alibi that he wasn't on the second floor sniping with a shotgun. Now, Roger testifies on his own behalf.
Really?
He's a well-spoken, upstanding looking dude. So he's going to try to use that to his advantage. He testifies that he did not know if he shot Paulie. They said, did you shoot Paul? And he said, I don't know. That's what he said.
It's not going to do it.
No, he said, quote, I've never been a violent person. I've always worked to create and rebuild. I just don't know. That was his answer in court.
You destroyed and tore down.
Yeah, they were like, well, you can do that in prison. I hear you can rebuild a lot of shit, probably. I bet there's a lot of stuff to build in prison. Just things, shelves.
Little rocks out of big rocks.
Paint some stuff, I assume.
License plates.
No, there's stuff in there to do, is what we're saying. You can really find something.
You can build a cake for all I give a fuck.
Knock yourself out. Now, he is found guilty of first-degree murder. Here. Now, he's found guilty. No death penalty on the table here.
Okay.
Now, one of the jurors, an Alton Johnson, he was one of the men in the jury, he said the first ballot they took after 2.5 hours of deliberation showed 11 jurors in agreement of guilt and the 12th juror abstaining. The juror said that Johnson said the jury felt a, quote, tremendous amount of pressure. He said it made him nervous to pass judgment on someone like that, which I would too. It's weird. I don't want to
a real 12 Angry Men.
It really is. He did say, though, jurors got along well during the trial, and they were shut off from the outside world. He said there was never any real arguing, and said all the jurors worked hard on the whole thing. So he's found guilty. Now, before sentencing, he's trying to say that he's insane. Now he has to have a sanity hearing based on that. The whole time he's been saying he's insane, but we'll talk about all this. Now, during the sanity hearing, they really kind of break out. This is when they start talking about, because he's trying to show, I'm such a perfect, nice guy.
Yeah.
Everybody says I'm a super nice guy. This is not in a pattern of my behavior.
Right.
Super aberrant behavior. Lost my fucking mind.
Yep.
Mental defect, didn't know what was going on.
It happens.
The only thing that could make sense, rather than a pattern of behavior that escalated to this. So they want to show, the prosecution wants to show that he's not such a great fucking guy, after all. That he does a lot of shit, and he's not as perfect as everybody makes him out to be. They talk about that he also often beat his wife, and we'll talk about her. She'll talk about that. That he also had affairs with other women on the side. They find proof of that, which
he's
was
a serial speeder. We already know
we
that.
know that he cannot slow down in his truck, or he's on trucker speed, either one. He smoked marijuana.
Oh, Jesus.
My God.
Right.
A college professor smoking marijuana in the 70s? No!
How could he?
How could he?
Is he from San Francisco?
Jesus. Oh, God. The bastard. He's out there smoking that wacky tobacco out in the North Woods. Good God.
Those girls
all
in
the
the
old
flower
people.
dresses.
Dateline. Crandon, Wisconsin, 1976, where a professor's been smoking the grass. Odd thing is, it turned him into a lesbian. It's the only side effect. He was a little hungry and just wanted some pussy. So,
He's hungry. For that carpet, you see?
That carpet, he's going to munch it up. So he, hey, there you go. So he smoked marijuana, sometimes drank heavily, and so that's what they want to show. Sandra is one of 3 states' witnesses in the sanity phase of this. She testifies that Roger had beat her approximately 25 to 30 times over the 8 years they've been married, which is is excessive. But 25 to 30 is like steady. That's a lot of fucking beating.
Over 8 years, that's like 4 a year.
That's a lot. Yeah, it is 4 a year.
That's every 3 months she's getting her ass kicked. No wonder she's fucking other dudes. Somebody's nice to me.
Well, in 72, when she filed for divorce, she probably that would have been good to stick with that if he's beating her up and everything else. This is awful. So he says many of the beatings occurred when he was drunk. When he was sober, he wasn't violent. He said she said the beatings have become more violent in recent years with affairs and things too. She also said she had affairs with not just Robin and Paulie, but now she has to be honest, a number of students. She said it was kind of a lot. A bunch. She said she believed that her husband had at least 2 extramarital affairs, one involving a woman that he worked with and another involving a woman in River Falls that he was helping with something, helping her kid or some shit like that where he attended college. Now, she was crying during the testimony. She said her husband had asked her not to testify anymore after he was convicted. He said, look, I'm convicted. You did that. Can you not fucking, put me in anymore? But she was the state's chief witness here. She said she witnessed the whole thing. She told about getting beaten and kicked one time she said, she talks about bad things that Roger's done.
Yeah.
She says one time she accidentally drove her car into a ditch in the snow.
As they do.
And he beat her and kicked her for that.
Good Lord.
She also told the jury that her husband, Roger, once shot and killed a dog near their home because the dog was hanging around his retriever, which was in heat. And he didn't want it
to keep it from getting pregnant. He fucking killed it.
Yes. Now he says that that wasn't for that reason. He says that dog was jumping on one of the kids and wouldn't leave one of the kids alone and was trying to bite one of the kids, so he shot it. That's what he said. He said he was protecting the kids from a stray dog and shot it. And she says it was trying to fuck the golden retriever, so he shot it. Either way, don't shoot people's dogs in your yard.
Yeah.
Let's not shoot dogs. Let's all not do that.
Don't call the owner.
I was going to say, let's call somebody. You know everyone in town.
Yeah.
Isn't that Frank's dog? Yeah, he's got a gray one like that. Sure, let's call Frank up. He'll just shoot fucking dogs.
You know the dog catcher. Just call that guy.
Yeah. She did say that her husband is kind and gentle around everyone else on earth except for her, basically, is what she said. Now, doctors testified saying that he has a mental condition known as a dissociative reaction, which could involve amnesia. Dissociative means you've separated from your body.
Right.
So he has a reaction of just dissociating from himself.
Is that like they're calling it PTSD kind of thing?
No. That didn't exist back then. They're saying they don't even know. All they call it is a dissociative reaction.
Okay.
So his reaction to something made him dissociate from the world. That's all they're saying.
That's weird.
They said persons suffering from such conditions, this is 1976. Psychiatry also, do things completely out of character. They said that he had a personality that's conducive to such a condition. According to Dr. Albert Lorenz, he's always striving. He wants to be in control and holds in his emotions, which I guess those are the bad parts of having World War II dad.
Right.
Tell you to shut the fuck up and your lucky zeros aren't coming at you.
Right.
Yeah. So, this doctor compared, Roger's actions to, quote, a boil bursting, and he believed, that it could also happen again.
Oh, the boil may refill.
You never know.
Yeah.
If it's possible bursting once, it could happen again.
Okay.
Also testifying for the defense was a Dr. Polder, who said that he testified for the state saying he didn't think Roger's behavior resulted from a mental defect or mental disease. He felt that Roger could appreciate right from wrong even at the time of the shooting. And also the sheriff testifies that Roger was calm and composed when he arrested him in his kitchen.
Yeah, it's been an hour.
He shot a guy, he beat up his wife. It's all out of his system.
Yeah.
Sobered up a little bit.
All done.
Yeah, that 6-pack's out of his system. Now he's just sleepy. A little hungry.
It's not an eventful evening.
He's like, listen, I helped push the car out of the ditch. Can we stop at Denny's? I'm like, seriously, I'm fucking hungry. Let's just, come on. IHOP even? I don't care. Whatever. Something's open. So, October 7th, 1976, sanity hearing wraps up, and the next day is going to be kind of the very end of the hearing, just closing arguments and judgment on it.
Got it.
So, instead, he's home, by the way. He's been found guilty of murder, but he's still out on bail.
They can't hold him now?
They have not pulled him in on bail. He's out on bail until sentencing.
Is that how that goes?
Not normally.
Okay.
Normally, if you're
convicted, fucking hold him. You're going to be sentenced to at least a day.
A lot of times people will ask for that. Uh-huh. They ask for bail during sentencing. And if it's like a white-collar crime or if it's something like that or if it's whatever, they usually will get that in that case. But in murder cases, you usually never get that because the penalty's so steep. You're worried about this person running away.
Right.
You're worried about
He's got nothing to lose
That's
now.
what I mean. He could run away. He could do. He's going to take off. I mean, you're right by Canada. You're right fucking there.
Right.
He can drive 45 minutes and be in Canada.
Right.
So I think that's.
Or he's convicted. He's a convicted killer. He's proven that he will kill.
Yeah, and you just let him out.
Let's not let that guy out.
Or he could try to kill himself, which is what he does.
Okay.
He attempts suicide with an OD of sleeping pills at about 8 a.m. at his home. Their police are called and paramedics are called, and they save him.
Yeah.
They revive him, and then
call him up.
The next day, back in court.
Yeah.
Next day they had court again, and they wouldn't. His attorneys asked for a continuance, and they said, "Fuck no, he tried to kill himself. That's his problem.
Yeah.
We're all here.
Right.
Everyone's here. We've all cleared our schedules. Fuck him." Now he obviously has a right to be present during all of this, but they said, reel his ass in here and sit him down. And they literally did that. They didn't release a whole lot of details except that he consumed sleeping pills and his stomach was pumped. He was free on the $50,000 bond. After this, though, his bond is revoked and they put him in custody for his own safety, I guess. His attorney moved for a mistrial after learning of the suicide attempt. No, that's not how that works.
No.
You could just cause your own mistrial. The judge said, "Nah, we're good. I think we're going to continue this. That's fine." So the next day, he's in court, and they bring him in a wheelchair to do the end of this whole thing.
Because he's probably still groggy.
He is. He's very groggy.
He's very sleepy.
He's going to be sleepy for a while, just a long time.
He's going to hang on a bit.
Oh, he's going to be dying. So closing arguments were delayed 2.5 hours after they had to wait for Roger to be brought from the hospital via ambulance to the courtroom. He was seated at the defense table next to his attorney. They removed the wheelchair from the courtroom before the jury entered because it did not give him any sympathy.
Right.
It didn't work for Tupac when he was, so I don't know why it would work for him. So Roger appeared to be asleep as his attorney began his closing statements to the jury. No shit.
Was he snoring?
He's still, what now? What happened? Where am I?
Who's dead?
What? Did I shoot a guy again? No. Okay, good. Last time that happened, I don't know. So Jesus Christ. A witness in the courtroom said to a newspaper reporter, quote, "He appears to be out of it," which I would say is accurate.
He took sleeping pills, which are designed to put you to sleep. Like, I've taken NyQuil and been groggy till like 8 at night.
Oh, yeah,
that
groggy
shit
all
is
day and night.
a nightmare. Anything that makes you drowsy keeps you groggy and drowsy for a long goddamn time.
Yeah, take like 3 indica edibles before you go to sleep, and you wake up and you're like, I'm still tired.
And in the 70s, that shit was just way strong.
Oh, yeah.
We got to make sure we knock these fuckers out.
Yeah, this is hardcore sleeping pills. Jeez, they got to take one of these and be able to fall right asleep because they're all on speed.
Right.
This has to knock them down from their speed high. This isn't just like a regular sleeping pill. This is to really take them down. So a police guard was established at his hospital room where he has to be when he's not in the courtroom. They take him back to the hospital via ambulance. Yeah. He's got medical personnel standing by and shit. Also, the judge denied an 18-point motion for the mistrial filed by his attorney. The jury is not told about the suicide attempt. They're going to decide sanity, and they're not told about that to not garner sympathy or to not have them affect their thought of his mental condition.
It's also beneficial to him.
It's one of those 50-50. Let's just not tell him about it.
Both. Let's just leave it alone.
Let's leave it alone. October 13th, by the way, he is found sane.
Yeah.
They say, no, he's fine. You're good. October 13th, 1976 is sentencing. Now, this is amazing. there's a reporter that covered this trial, and he was saying that it was, a very sensational trial for a small town, because it was all about, affairs and this teacher with her students. And it's for small towns in the 70s. This is some salacious shit.
Right.
Like, everybody's going to be talking, and they all know these people.
Hell yeah.
Imagine the gossip
I can't imagine.
going on at the fucking post office or wherever the hell, at the Crandon Dirt Track or wherever the hell these people are hanging out. The Kentuck Festival. They're going to have they're going to have
people
some shit to talk.
People drinking moonshine.
Jesus.
The amount of fucking gossip that fuels. You ever listen to somebody in a bar talk about their life? That's shit you don't know about.
Yeah, this is
everybody knows it.
And this is actually interesting.
Yeah,
this isn't
fascinating.
And then we went to a craft fair, me and my wife. Like, fuck you. This is interesting.
Have another shot of shine. Tell me more about Mary's new shoes.
Jesus Christ almighty. Yes, your children are very intelligent. Thank you.
And so cute.
They're adorable. So that's what's going on here. Everybody must be talking about this. Yeah. This has to be just the talk of the whole area.
Absolutely.
This is what else is there to talk about?
People in Kentucky are talking about it.
They're all the way down to Kentucky. So at the end of the trial, in the sentencing here, the judge announced to the court that it was, quote, the most bizarre case I've ever presided over. Mm-hmm. Everything that could have happened happened. Now, it's not the most bizarre case. We've dealt with way more bizarre than this. But it's fucking weird and interesting, I'll tell you that much.
Somebody else could have shot him. That could have been more fascinating, and something else could have happened.
That would have been
Not everything happened.
But it still is pretty, lots of stuff could have happened. A stranger could have been involved. Right. You knew nothing about, and that could have been a serial killer stopped by on the way down from Canada.
That's a twist.
So what they do, this is during sentencing. He's been found guilty of first-degree murder, then found sane. And now they're doing sentencing. Roger's attorneys ask for probation.
What?
They ask for probation. Seriously. They asked for fucking just send him home.
Did he pull his balls through his zipper to ask for that? Because that is the most ballsy thing I've ever heard.
Probation? It's
Your Honor, I would like to bring your attention to these testicles hanging out of my zipper.
I placed them upon the table here, so
because I'm about to ask you the most fucking ballsy thing you've ever heard.
It's not even first-degree murder. Probation. Just let him out. We don't need to put him away. What are we going to do with him?
Hit him with some shoplifting penalty.
Oh, wow. So, probation. His attorney said that Roger was overwhelmed by a number of circumstances, including his wife's extramarital affairs at the time of the shooting, and that Roger is an outstanding young man whose promising professional career would be destroyed by a prison sentence.
Yeah.
Well, because he would be in prison and not working.
Right.
Because he's a murderer. When you murder people, you can't say, but it's going to affect his job negative. They don't care. You killed a guy. He doesn't have any job now because he's dead.
Terrible on his LinkedIn page.
Ah, Jesus. This is going to look so bad. Permanent record, you say? Oh, Jesus Christ. Nobody on Tinder is going to want to fuck him now. Are you kidding me? So
he's going to have to go to Bumble to get laid.
Oh, it's going to be the worst. All the way down to Kentucky. And old Kentucky's going to have to go, or they don't mind. So his lawyer also told the judge, this is Judge Martineau, that a constructive use of probation was, quote, peculiarly indicated, which I don't know what that means in the case, and added that, quote, nothing of a creative or constructive nature could be done for him in a prison situation. To which they said, that's not what we're looking for. We don't care about that. We're not looking to
trying to rehabilitate.
We don't care. We're not looking at what's the best environment for this flower to grow. We're just going to throw him in prison because he shot a guy in his front yard for fucking his wife. It's pretty basic. That's just how we roll here in Wisconsin. We're like, hey, you shot a dude? Well, you can go to prison now. We're not looking to get the most out of every prisoner. Let's sit every prisoner down and talk to them and find out what their abilities and skills are so they can blossom like a rose. Like, we don't have time for that. That'd be great if we could, but I don't think the system is set up for that.
Counselor, you think this shit's crazy? Wait 20 years and watch this documentary on Netflix.
Yeah, what do you
see? What else the Wisconsin State?
Yeah, what do you see this shit?
Department of Corrections does.
No shit, Jesus Christ!
You're gonna be blown away. Who else doesn't get probation?
Oh man, yeah. You still got Brendan Dassey. So, all right. He says, quote, I know the attorney still, I know the remorse this man feels over what he did. So he's super remorseful and he's got good stuff to do. Now, Roger also spoke in a brief statement. He said, quote, I do wish to say I feel I need help and do not want my life to end as a non-productive servant of the people. I want to be a productive servant of the people. I need help. No shit.
Yeah.
What gave that away? The shotgun? As your ears were ringing from the blast, did you go, I might need help? This is weird.
And the most
people don't do this.
The most self-serving statement. I.
Oh yeah.
How about I've got 3 kids, Your Honor. And
didn't say I'd love to take care of my children.
Yeah.
I'd like to help raise them and guide them in the right way. I feel terrible. I'd like to help make up my shit for society. I apologize to the Pauley family. I feel bad that they lost their son. And blah, 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 blah. None of that shit.
To my wife, I'm sorry I've punched you.
A lot.
So many times.
I need help, and I do not want my life to end as a non-productive servant of the people. I don't want to be just sitting there. The prosecutor says, we don't give a fuck what you did.
Okay.
Prosecutor says he asked for imprisonment,
which
he had to be like, do I have to reiterate that we want to put him in jail?
Yeah.
He got to, I thought that was just a given considering first-degree murder. What's the sentencing guidelines there?
Anywhere from probation.
Anywhere from, come in every once a week, take a piss test, to life in a fucking maximum security. What's the...
Anywhere from put on a vest and clean the freeways
what is
up
happening?
to what the fuck? Are you
kidding me?
What is
this shit? Yeah, wow.
Doesn't it start at some place?
It has to start at
right?
at least 15 or something. There has to be a minimum.
A minimum guideline.
No, probation is minimum here, apparently, in the 70s in Wisconsin.
Probation is a little bit of community service.
Wow. Now, he says, the attorney here, Kevin Kelly, says that he needs to be imprisoned and that to do otherwise would, quote, make a spectacle of the court and compromise the interests of the people.
And I'm surprised we're even talking about this.
But he killed a guy.
Right.
We showed you the pictures. You guys saw that shit, right?
Should we see if his lawyer is sane too? Because this is fucking crazy.
Maybe it's all him and Rogers is just the sane one. Maybe his lawyer killed him. Maybe his lawyer killed Paul Pauley. New theory.
And that's why he's asking for probation, because he feels terrible.
He feels
that
awful.
This guy's getting railroaded.
You know what? I feel guilty. So the judge weighs in on this, and the judge has a final say here. The judge says he observed here that Roger had a, quote, Jekyll and Hyde personality, which is not what you want to hear from a judge.
No, that hurts.
That's bad.
Yeah.
He says that Roger, during his trial testimony, characterized himself as a concerned family man, which was contradicted by his wife's testimony that he had beaten the living shit out of her 25 to 30 times, including right after he shot a man in his front yard.
Right.
I love how judges, because they watch the whole thing, and they build all this stuff up, and then they have a final word at the end where they just have this scathing, I saw it all, and I'm going to break it down to 3 sentences of what a piece of shit you are, and I went to law school and did well there, so I'm good at this.
That's what it is. It's Jerry Springer with a law degree.
It's the final word. And he sits there and he tells you what a terrible piece of shit you are. And how nothing that you said is true. And there's no argument. There's no cross-exam. It's just, no, shut up. I'm the judge. I've literally judged this to be true. Judging by my title, I am allowed to do that. So, fuck you. And if you say anything worse, I'll just give you a worse sentence.
Right.
Yeah, don't piss me off.
Give you more time.
Then he says, quote, your own psychiatrist, Dr. Albert Lorenz, has said that if you were not confined, this would happen again. He's like, that's not helping you much. I would be remiss. This is good. This goes on for a second. I would be remiss in my duty to the public if I turned this man loose after a conviction for first-degree murder and in the face of the testimony of his own psychiatrist. I have lost some of my faith in probation, which permits convicted persons to beat the rap. He says at that point, then he talks about, he says, quote, at no time during the course of the 9-day trial did this man come clean for anybody. He told an improbable story of amnesia, but it is a fact he was able to remember when he wanted to remember, talking to the psychiatrist. You, sir, may fuck off. Life in prison.
Oh, Jesus.
Life.
No parole?
It's a weird thing. It's life is like till you're dead here. It's just life. There's not a life with or without. So just life in prison.
Oh boy.
As opposed to probation. So
I can't believe the judge even acknowledged I've lost my faith in that, actually.
Yeah.
So I can't really.
I can't. I was gonna. I thought about it.
Kind of being nice at that
moment. You caught me 3 years ago. Right. I would have done it, but I've been burned a couple times. I'm not gonna lie to you. I've had some bad relationships in the probation system, and I'm just not gonna do this.
It's like used cars. You buy a couple and then they don't work out.
Oh, I got burned.
Listen, I'm gonna go with brand new this time.
No more Kias. No more used Kias. So, life
and I'm going to send the Manitowoc police over to his house if we can't find a RAV4.
Let's figure that out. There's got to be bound to be one there somewhere in the woods. So I feel like the lawyer then said, after he said, "You, sir, may fuck off, life in prison," he said, "Would the defense counsel please approach the bench?" And he just gave him the back of his hand from down low.
How dare you?
Back. Are you out of your fucking mind? You ever come in my courtroom and ask for probation for first-degree murder, I will beat you to death with my gavel and get away with it because I'm a fucking judge. I will judge myself sane.
All my judge friends will be like, he asked for what?
What? Get the fuck out now.
You better beat him to death with your gavel.
You beat him to death, right? You started with his nuts so he could feel it, though. Don't just hit him in the head and knock him out. You want to get him in the balls, drop him, and then just wail on him.
Because they were out through the zipper anyway, right?
Yeah, on the table. They had to be, which makes it easier for banging. It's like whack-a-mole. Whack-a-ball.
Unbelievable.
So, July 1st, 1978, he's in prison, and Sandra divorces him while he's in prison,
good.
Which, that seems a little late. It seems like that could have happened at any point after the shooting.
I would have paid to be the guy that serves those papers, though.
Oh, God,
that would be awesome.
Yeah, just walk. I've served papers in prison before.
Like that, though, to people that are there for life?
Well, they're for life.
That
there
would
for
be
whatever.
awesome.
You just walk in. It sucks because you have to go to prison.
Yeah.
They take you in, and you have to go, here you go.
Yeah.
And most of the time, they're like, cool. They're just happy to see an outside person.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, cool.
How you doing?
Yeah, how's it going? Warm out? They're just happy you're there.
just put out a new album.
Yeah,
so
usually nice to you.
Here's your papers.
So, here you go. So 1979, he has an appeal, obviously, here. Appeal based on new evidence.
Yeah.
We have new evidence. This alleged exculpatory evidence is the supposed knowledge of okay. Here we go here. This is wild. These are, this is a guy's named David Kellen and Darrell Wilson. They were defense witnesses. Apparently, they had supposed knowledge of Sandra Sarinsky's automobile having an electrical short circuit. Okay. They say in the papers here, thus it appears the evidence was not within the exclusive control of the state, and consequently there may have been no duty. It's basically they're saying there's a Brady violation here, which is the state had exculpatory evidence and did not share it with the defense. So that's like what Adnan was going for. It was Brady violations, and there's a shitload of them in his case. But that's what they're going for here. Brady violations where other people knew of something that had to do with her car, and that made them suspect. There was something that he's saying was exculpatory, which doesn't seem exculpatory enough based on the fact that he shot a man and then called the sheriff, said I shot a guy, and then came in there and he ripped the phone out of the wall. A guy shot and his gun on the ground. That sort of thing here. They said even if a violation of the state's duty to disclose existed, a new trial is not required since the disclosure could not have affected the verdict because it wasn't a big fucking deal. It wasn't anything that would change guilt or innocence. It said that the electrical short circuit does not support the defense's assertion that someone other than the defendant was involved in a struggle with the victim of the homicide immediately prior. He also, Roger, further asserts that because of this Kellen guy's personal knowledge of the existence of an electrical short circuit did not surface until the second phase of the trial, the sanity one, it constitutes newly discovered evidence justifying a new trial. So they're trying to really find some loopholes here, and they say, no, that's not going to happen. They said the requirements for granting a new trial on newly discovered evidence are that the defendant suggests there are several sources of reasonable doubt which a jury may have ignored in order to reach his verdict. The defendant, they said the defendant is correct in the state's case rested in a large part upon the testimony of Sandra. Although the defense attempted to cast doubt on her credibility, her testimony is not incredible as a matter of law. It's not just they tried to say she wasn't reliable because she had affairs. It's like that doesn't mean she can't witness a murder. Like it doesn't matter who she fucks, unless it's amnesia jizz. You're fine. So
Roger doesn't have that stuff?
No, he doesn't have amnesia, Jizz. Maybe
he doesn't even have amnesia.
Just percolating for too long, and that's what happens. The jury, they say, chose to believe her. Roger is correct in noting that the state's firearm expert could not identify the gun and shells found at the scene as the instrument by which the victim met his death. That's because it's a fucking shotgun. That's why Omar in The Wire, not that you'd watch it, but that's why Omar shoots people with fucking shotgun.
That makes sense.
He has pumpkin
Omar
balls.
sounds like a smart man.
That's the thing. No fucking ballistics on the shotgun. That's the whole point. Although they know dead drug dealer with no more drugs and shotgun shells in him. Shotgun plus slugs.
That's an MO.
That's probably Omar at that point. So he carried other pieces too. So they said also the state's expert could not detect any traces of powder on the jacket worn by the victim at the time of the shooting. Now, I don't know. That's just saying that he was more than a few feet away. Yeah. Instead of 3 feet, it was 6 feet. Either way, they were both in the yard and fucking shotgun was discharged. Yeah. They said, nevertheless, the jury could believe that the gun was the fatal weapon. Yeah, because they're saying that the in their appeal, they're trying to say, well, the ballistics guy couldn't match the gun, and then, there was no traces of powder on the guy, so it might not have been him. It might have been a guy shooting, from a second-story window or from across the street. Because there's lots of other people mad at Paul Pauly for fucking this guy's wife. Right. They all want to kill him. Weird. Yeah. They said that Roger contends there was a considerable confusion about the angle of the entry of the fatal shot, establishing that the gun may have been shot from the second story of the house. They said the defense attempted to create such confusion, but the jury could have disregarded it. They said that Serinsky here, Roger contends that Robin Jensen could have been in the house and shot Pauly. There is credible evidence that Jensen was elsewhere, and there's no evidence that he was anywhere in the vicinity except in this theory. So they said, also under a grant of immunity, he testified that he didn't shoot Paul Pauly, even though he could have said, I fucking shot the shit out of him. Yeah. That's right, goddammit.
He had immunity.
Didn't matter. State's case also rested on the telephone confession to the chief. The defense counsel attempted to show that the chief did not really recognize Roger's voice on the phone, but they were unsuccessful in creating a reasonable doubt that it was anyone but Roger. Yeah. If they would have showed up to Roger's house and nobody would have been there, then it could have been somebody else. But he said, I shot a guy at my house and I'm here with a shotgun. And then the guy showed up and he was sitting there with a shotgun and a dead guy. So even if it wasn't him, it was him. Yeah. So they also claim, the defense, that several trial court rulings on evidence are erroneous and they warrant a reversal of his conviction. First was the admission of photographs of the victim, which they all try to do that, and they all say, nope, that's totally admissible. Doesn't matter that they're bloody. You should have made them less bloody. Yeah. Shouldn't have killed them so bad then.
That'd be nice.
And the pictures would look nicer. Yeah. So they explain that they were visual aids to enable the jury to understand the facts of the case, obviously. His next objects to the trial courts having allowed a witness over objection to comment on the pleasant, helpful character of Paul Pauly. They didn't want anybody to say he was a nice guy. When they attempted to submit rebuttal evidence that he wasn't a nice guy, the trial court reconsidered its original ruling, admitted its error, and instructed the jury to disregard any evidence of Paul Pauly's character. Because it doesn't fucking matter anyway. There's nothing in the record to indicate that the instruction was not significant to cure any prejudice. He also takes issue with the testimony of his wife, Sandra, concerning tearing the telephone off the wall, claiming that her testimony violated the defendant's marital privilege set forth. Wow.
Because they were still married.
Yeah, but that's if you can't be forced to say. She wasn't forced. She chose did it fucking voluntarily. Right. And also it protects, well, here we go. The defendant correctly cites this for the proposition that private communication within the meaning of the statute includes expressive acts which are intended to convey information of a privileged character. The conduct in question by this case cannot reasonably be considered to be primarily communicative. By the violence and the Jesus Christ.
Fucking James.
Of his actions, Roger clearly intended to stop his wife from summoning aid, not to impart knowledge or information made privileged under the thing. So that's what it was. That's what they're saying. You can't just not testify because it's bad for you. So he also complains that trial court should have admitted the following 3 documents here. They said that it would have impeached the credibility of Jensen and Sandra. A letter written by Jensen to Sandra after the shooting, a letter by Sandra to Roger, and the district attorney's notes of a conference with Jensen. They said, we don't agree with the assertions here. The inconsistencies in the stories have been talked about, and they've been basically parsed out, and we're fine with them, and so is the jury. They said it wouldn't impeach their credibility of any kind. It's just people make mistakes in details all the time. There's never been a perfect murder case where nobody made any mistakes or people haven't forgot what color shirt a guy had on.
It's the way it goes. It's years ago, usually.
Yeah, that's the thing. And this was, they said none of the 3 documents is so persuasive, so unambiguous, or so relevant and material. We can say that the trial court abused its discretion, not allowing marital privilege. Yeah. Also, this is one here that the jury had no other option but murder. There was no... the lawyer didn't ask for a manslaughter, anything like that. Oh. He argues the verdict submitted to the jury with respect to his plea of not guilty by reason of mental defect was erroneous in form and substance. The trial court submitted a verdict which consisted of a question inquiring, is the defendant Roger Surinsky not guilty by reason of mental disease? The defendant urged the court to use the following language. Did the defendant, Roger Surinsky, at the time of the commission of the murder, have a mental disease so as to lack substantial capacity to appreciate the wrongfulness of his conduct, blah, blah, blah. The defense contends that the form of a factual question avoids the possibility of what might be considered inconsistent verdicts by the jury first finding him guilty, then finding of not guilty. Because they said you're not going to have a jury say you're guilty of first-degree murder, then have a sentencing phase where the only thing they can say is not guilty of murder by insanity. Okay. You're saying you're not going to ask a jury to find a guy guilty one day and not guilty the fucking next day. Okay. That's not reasonable, which is a fact. They had no other options for that.
The other part is he saying that they didn't have any chance to give him a different...
get him other than first degree.
In my opinion, that's just the fucking state being like, we got him, fuck it.
Well,
I don't care. That's ballsy.
But that's saying...
That's pretty brave, too.
He's going to say that if his lawyer would have submitted that, the jury would have probably given him a second degree, or something that wouldn't have netted him life.
So his lawyer could submit that and ask for it.
That's what they're going. So, basically here, his chief argument that he gets a new trial is the interest of justice is required because the jury was not given the option of considering a verdict of manslaughter. Okay. His brief said that he has no right to a new trial on this ground because there's no request for an instruction of manslaughter has been made by the defense counsel, and it explains that he had not authorized his counsel to make such a request, but they say the trial court suggested the submission to the jury of instructions relating to manslaughter and second-degree murder, and Surinsky did not wish these instructions to be given.
Well, and it's on him.
It's kind of on him. Yeah. It's a little weird here. He contends that the evidence at trial, including the evidence of the relationship between Paul and his wife, and his knowledge of all that, and his emotional state, and everything like that, if you add all that up and then properly instructed the jury, that it would have been manslaughter instead of murder. Okay. That's his theory here.
All right.
You add everything up. We deny everything, but if you actually allow it, then they should have come up with this anyway. So after all that, they say appeal denied, go fuck yourself.
Fantastic.
Affirmed. Now, October 1982. Donald and Helen Pauley, parents, retired policeman Donald Pauley and his wife Helen here, they get a letter accompanied by a newspaper clipping. They've retired down to Florida at this point, and the headline is "Freedom of Possibility for Imprisoned Slayer." And they're talking about some sort of reduced sentence for him. Now the father here says, "I just couldn't believe what I was reading. We were just shocked." It was basically he's reading the Pardon Advisory Board just recommended to Governor Lee Dreyfus that Roger be set free. They're saying now. The acting governor already commuted his sentence just now before this to a 99-year term. So he commuted it from life to 99 years, which is not really anything great, but it's a start and might get you out in 50. So that was in 1979 after the appeal failed. And now the Pardon Advisory Board is telling this governor that his sentence should be reduced to 10 years. which would make it time served.
Done.
He could just walk out of jail, they said. If that happens, he would have served just over 6 years of a life term.
Okay.
So the prosecutor in this case said that it would be a gross miscarriage of justice to set him free. But the Pardon Advisory Board has received 59 letters attesting to Roger's good character, including from a local Republican congressman.
Oh, boy.
Even sent a letter to the judge and to the Pardon Advisory Board. He's got so many people writing letters saying he's a good guy.
These are all dudes that had their wives cheat on them.
They're like, I understand, man. I understand. They said, what if, they asked this had all happened and they didn't even know what was going on down in Florida, Paulie's parents. So they asked him, what the fuck if they had asked you your opinion, what would you have said? And he said, I'd have said that once again, the criminal seems to be winning. I'd have said that once again, the victim and the victim's relatives seem to be the forgotten ones. He says, please understand, I'm happy that Roger is being rehabilitated, but I'm not happy that he's about to be released, possibly after only serving 6 years. They wrote to the governor and to the Pardon Advisory Board. He said he'd go to Wisconsin to talk to them if need be. He wrote to his U.S. representative down in Florida, wrote to friends and policemen in Appleton, where he worked, and elsewhere, asking them to urge the governor, send as many letters as they got to say, don't let him out. They said they think of Paul all the time and they pray for him. They say it's something you'll never, ever get over. It stays with you forever. You wonder where he would be now. What would he be doing? Would he have a family? That's fucking brutal. So that's 99 years. December 30th, 1982, Governor Lee Dreyfus commutes his 99-year sentence to 40 years.
Oh, Jesus.
So it goes from life to 99 to 40.
They're trimming the fat.
They're trimming it. He explained in his handwritten decision that he reduced the sentence in order to keep it related to similar kinds of sentences and commutations in the past. I don't know what that means. He's just trying to keep it with standards. The judge at the trial, Martineau, he said he wrote a letter saying the jury, in his opinion, might have found Roger guilty of a lesser charge had one been submitted by the attorney. So they're saying that basically they're trying to say that just because he had shit legal strategy, it wasn't ineffective assistance of counsel. He didn't want this. But just because a non-lawyer had shit legal strategy doesn't mean that he should be deprived of the legality of the whole thing. So they said that there was they're trying to basically figure out if this is going to get him out or what it's going to do. It reduces, at this point, the 40 years says it doesn't do anything for his parole, but reduces his mandatory date for release from prison to approximately 18 years and 3.5 months from the date of the sentence. So his new release date would be 1995 here rather than never.
This is horrible.
So they were more... The pardon board wanted less than that. One member recommended commuting the sentence to 13 years, which would have meant immediate release, like right this fucking minute. And then the remaining people recommended a commutation to 15 years. They held 2 hearings, the second to take additional testimony prompted by public reaction to the news of the first. And Surinsky's mother and several other people who've known him since his imprisonment testified in favor of clemency and argued that he was rehabilitated, no longer a threat to society. His former wife, Sandra, was remarried at this point. She testified during this that she remains afraid of Roger for herself and her children.
Of course.
Which I don't blame her. She's seen him shoot a man with a shotgun. So, and then beat the living shit out of her afterwards. They said, if you're capable of not calling for help for someone...
Right, and then
that's
leaving
pretty cold
that dude
fucking blooded,
laying
man.
in the fucking snow for an hour.
Shooting them is one thing. That's terrible. But then to not have any remorse to that, to go, oh, fuck, you're another level.
That should, that's
something.
That should reset your rage, too.
Yes.
You've taken out your rage on the target.
Oh, no.
Now he went and beat the shit out of her, too.
And ripped phones off the wall and everything. The advisor board questioned the sentence. They said several members believed that a manslaughter verdict would have been more appropriate and the jury should have been given more choices. They said that... clemency's been opposed, obviously, by a lot of people. A state rep here from Appleton called it a brutal homicide, which was viewed as an isolated incident of lawlessness and violence, and that's simply not true, is what he said. Now, November 10th, 1984... we'll talk about this. In 1983, Roger was written up for a major breach in conduct in prison. He was driving off. Apparently, he's transporting prisoners in a van.
No,
he's driving them. He's like the honor prisoner. They wanted to let him out, for Christ's sake.
They got him behind the wheel.
They're actually driving. Apparently, he drove off his designated route in Madison while transporting prisoners.
He's running
from a minimum security prison camp or work study to work release assignments. And as a result, he was put back in a medium security prison. So, dumb thing to do. But at this point here, it doesn't matter. All that, you figure his behavior is not perfect. They announced that Fred Hinnickel, chairman of the state parole board, said that afternoon that the decision was made to parole Roger.
Wow.
And the order was signed today. He will be serving. He served 8 years and 1 month of a life sentence.
Wow.
For shooting a guy
For
in cold
murder.
blood and leaving a guy to die. They contacted the father, Donald Pauly.
Yeah.
Paul's father, and he said that it would, quote, would be too hard on him and his wife to fight this release. He said he just doesn't have the energy. They fought it vigorously in 82, and they said they just don't have the energy to do it again. They're old and they're tired, and this whole thing it wears on them.
It's exhausting.
They're in Florida, whatever.
We've dealt with criminals our whole life. We don't want to deal with another one.
Exactly. Now, Roger remarried while in prison.
What?
Found himself a woman. He plans to live in Madison and have a nice
Staying
time.
in Wisconsin.
Staying in Wisconsin, and he builds a whole other life for himself here. 1988. Well, I found a couple of weird things in the newspaper. He keeps applying for these different variances for his house and his mom's house. One is in 1988. He and his mother request a setback variance to park a vehicle in the front yard, which no, don't let him do that.
That's trash.
1990, there is a missing 17-year-old girl in this area in Janesville, and the parents are looking for her. She has a short-term memory disorder. So apparently her name was Michelle Eberling. She was last seen by friends. Apparently she was waiting for a bus, but when the bus was late, she became disoriented and couldn't remember if she missed it, and they thought she wandered off. They ask, she suffers from a loss of short-term memory caused by a track and field accident last summer, says her speech therapist, Roger Surinsky.
Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah. He's working as a fucking speech therapist with teenagers, this fucking guy.
Holy shit.
This is in 1990. This is less than 6 years out of getting out of jail for cold-blooded murder.
Wow.
And it doesn't say Roger Surinsky, her speech therapist and convicted murderer. Nowhere in these articles does it say that. It just says her speech therapist.
Roger Surinsky, convicted murderer and speech therapist.
And speech therapist. Now they don't have any of that shit. It's crazy. 1995, another variance here. They request a rear yard variance to rebuild and extend the back porch of their home into usable living space.
They should fucking get a variance to park their car back there and get it out of the fucking front yard.
They should. Now, in 1996, Prince Charles and Princess Diana get divorced.
Yeah.
And so in the local newspaper, they were just asking for citizens to write in their opinion on whose fault it was. And fucking Roger writes in an opinion. He said,
why didn't he just kill the bitch?
He said, at least he didn't shoot that Arab guy with a shotgun. That's what he said. But no, it was very strange.
That Arab fella.
Yeah. And you can see him, that Arabic fella. That's what, it wasn't that Arabic fella. That's what made it fucking funny. That's what it was right there. And you can see here, I'll show you a picture. That's Roger.
Oh, geez.
He's all silver-haired. He looks like a professor.
What's going on with his nose?
Turtleneck on. Well, he's like in his 60s, but turtleneck on.
It seems like a
50.
long nose.
Yeah, he's probably drinking a little bit. He says about Princess Di and Charles here, quote, "It's really no surprise. Any kind of relationship is bound to have troubles, and obviously these two royal people share the same emotions and irreconcilable troubles with the commoners. It's also not surprising since you see higher divorce rates in America among educated people than less educated people, so they certainly weren't immune from divorce." And he is listed as Roger Surinsky, 52, retired speech pathologist, Madison. He didn't leave.
Convicted fucking murderer.
Convicted shotgun murderer. He left that part out, and it's weird.
I'm surprised that he didn't bring up the rumored infidelity.
Yeah, that
would have been hysterical.
Pretty funny, but I found somebody else's opinion on it to be hilarious. There's a 19-year-old student named Rachel Hansen.
Yes.
She puts on, quote, I think both of them are to blame. Charles probably more so because of his lengthy affair with an old girlfriend. But Diana doesn't get any of my sympathy. She comes off as feeling sorry for herself. She didn't spend Christmas with her children. Instead, she took off for an island vacation instead. She has probably brought the majority of her problems on herself.
And that ginger son doesn't look anything like him.
Holy fucking shit. This is like, fuck that bitch. And then she died and everyone was like, she's the greatest person that ever lived. She changed her opinion completely. It's so fucking funny.
Pictures of her on her walls.
Yeah, so Princess Di there, that's his opinion on that. So he's out just putting he has no shame. I wanted to show that he was talking to newspapers about things that don't have to do with murder.
Not even hiding.
He has no shame. He submitted a picture. I showed you there's a picture of him next to his opinion.
Oh, boy.
That's from the article.
Oh,
look,
Jesus.
There's Rachel Hansen right there.
Oh, boy. Rachel looks like she's 30.
That chick's 19?
Yeah, it's been black and white. Let's give her the benefit of the doubt.
Oh, boy, Wisconsin. Slow it down.
Yikes. So that's cheesy beer farts. So, he puts his picture on there, his name, his real name, his age. He doesn't give a fuck. He's not ashamed of this. He appears to have joined Twitter.
What?
In November of 2014.
Oh, boy.
He appears to have joined Twitter. Problem is not a whole lot of tweets because on December 30th, 2015, he died. So...
He was a Twitter member for a year and a month.
He's not tweeting from beyond the grave, apparently. He didn't do much with it.
He was a Twitter member about as long as he was a prisoner.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's perfect. So he is dead at age 71.
A free man.
Free man. Wow. Shit, he was free. What was that, 2015? He was free for 31 years.
Wow.
He got 31 extra years of life after prison. 31.
Madison.
That's crazy, man. He remarried. He fucking built. He was a speech therapist. He was
got a job, a professional job.
Yep, because he had all his references. Yeah. I mean, he had a bunch of people. I'm sure he had that congressman and people saying he was convicted. It was very shady and it was a blah blah blah. And he's great. And they hire the guy. Wow. That's what happens. And you don't even know.
Unbelievable.
No fucking idea.
What a story.
That is crazy shit. That's the opposite of the Fugate case.
Yeah.
That's what we just did. That's what I wanted to show is the opposite of the Fugate case.
That's incredible.
And this, they just couldn't wait to let him out. Right. Everybody just saying how great he is. And down there, they were just like, can we fucking kill him yesterday? Like, it's super weird.
There's no more questions.
Yeah. So Roger Serinsky's dead. Sandra, I believe, is still alive, but her new husband died of pancreatic cancer
that poor guy.
in 2009.
Oh, she married Patrick Swayze?
Yeah, she did, actually. It was a really sexy wedding. Everybody had their abs out. It was really hot. It was good shit.
Yeah.
So, her new husband's dead, and her old husband's dead, too. And I don't know if she's finding other people to hang out with.
I hope so.
I hope so, too. But that is Roger Serinsky and the Serinskys and Paul Pauly and Crandon, Wisconsin. Weird-ass story that was.
Unbelievable.
It's a fucking strange one. So, yes, if you like that story, there is a way to tell us all about that. Yeah. You can go to iTunes, Apple Podcasts, the purple icon. Yeah. Give us 5 stars. Tell us you're following instructions or directions, or it doesn't matter. It's not for our ego.
Right.
We're trying to feed the damn funky algorithm that iTunes has. It's not our fault.
It's for Tim Apple's pet.
That's all it is, man. That's all it is. So please do that. And any, like we said, any other platform that you may listen on, go ahead and do that. It helps us drive us up the charts. It really does. Also, listen to Crime and Sports. We can't tell you how crazy the episode was this week.
So much fun.
It doesn't matter if you like, there's not a lot of sports. It's just a lot of crazy. And you can see the tone of the show and see how fucking nuts it is.
I didn't know this guy either, you guys. If you don't know who he is, you're in good company.
Yeah. Well, but let me tell you a crime. And if you don't find this interesting, he went to a gas station.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, it's so good.
Punched the attendant, who then ran away to call the police. And while the attendant was gone, rather than fleeing with the money, he just said, I'll just fucking start taking money for gas. And he waited and was like a clerk. And then
worked the shift.
People come up, hey, I get 20 on pump 4. He'd go, sure. And then he just put the money in his pocket. He just pretended he worked there. He took it over like it was a drug corner. He's like, I own this shit now. I took over your gas station, motherfucker. And
just the coffee today, sir?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, typing it up. The cops came as he was punching a taxi driver who was trying to take his $100 bill back after the clerk had to return to tell, don't give him money, he doesn't work here.
God damn it,
it's
Noir,
insanity.
You're blowing up my spot.
Jesus Christ. So listen to the show, God damn it. Do that. Also, head to shutupandgivememurder.com for all of your merchandise needs. Keep checking for live shows and tickets for those live shows. And there's a few markets that we're going to that we know are going to sell very, very fast because they're just those kind of markets. So follow us. Do this on social media. We do not bother you. We will not bombard you with 4 million bullshit tweets.
Right.
We post the show, maybe 1 or 2 things here or there.
Yeah.
Nothing crazy. Follow us. It is at Murder Small on Twitter, at Small Town Pod on Facebook, at Small Town Murder on Instagram. As soon as these shows come out, as soon as they're announced live, we put them up on social media. Oftentimes before we have a chance to record a show to tell you about them, like Nashville. Tickets went live on a Friday.
Yep.
By the time we could tell you about them on the show on Thursday, they were already gone.
Right.
So that's what'll happen. If the only people that got them were the social media people that knew about it. So that helps a lot. So if you follow us on social media, it helps for tickets. So please do that.
Or if you're not on social media, keep an eye on that fucking website, because that's where they're going to be.
Shutupandgivememurder.com. You can do that. Just put a Google alert for Small Town Murder Live. There you go. Do that. Everything like that. Also, if you want to be one of our heroes, one of our people
There's so many.
Jesus, we love these people so much. One of our producers, who we're going to talk about in just a moment here, you can do that so easily. Just go to patreon.com/crime in sports, or you can head over to PayPal. You can make one time or however many time donations you want using our email address, crimeinsports@gmail.com. Do that, and I think we should hear about these people, because you've heard enough from us. Let's hear about the people who really matter, the ones who keep this show going. Jimmy, hit me with that list like a shotgun from 3 to 5 feet or a second story window. You never know.
This week's executive producers are Carrie Schaefer, Shannon Russell, Welshman in London, Good Dad Ryan Moeller, Kevin Mochizuki, Lindsay Walker, Sonia Mink, I believe Mink. It's probably Mink.
Yeah.
Diana Michalski. Yes. Gage Foster, Andrea Stanson, and Opal Shell. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. Can't do it without you.
Further producers this week are Jillian Graham, Jessica with no last name, Jen with no last name, Lisa Hoople, Joanne Music, Christopher Sheehy. That might be the other Sheehy. Adam?
Adam.
I don't know. Maybe. Could be. Or his brother.
Could
or
turn
cousin.
him on
I don't
to it,
know.
yeah.
Could be family. Cale Washington, Dove Harper, Cody Spence, Thomas Smith, Janice Hill, Ryan Borky, Melissa Williams, Allison Morris, Rachel Kennedy, Helena Canaver, Tracy it's Trey Valcanar.
Oh, okay.
It's the Valcanar the third that goes by Trey.
Okay.
Ashley Culpepper, Kayla Innes, Kat Power, Crystal Childs, Brendan Abels, Jordan Bennett, and Canadian Boobs. Is that what? No.
All of them?
All the Canadian boobs.
60 million boobs? Or there's 30 million people. So 30
600 million. Right? I don't know.
No. 2 boobs per half the population.
Got it.
So 15 million times 2.
I'm on board.
30 million boobs.
Buck Yayo 50, Gary Howard, Justin Miller, Susan Gable, Justice Graves, Ted Cyrus, Andrew Paulson, Jesse Hartman, Bria Green, Amanda Windsor, Reagan Shalkley. She's the one with the dog that she named Whisman.
Cool.
Edward Gao, Alan Richardson, Kim Hodgkiss, Ashley Vio, Kathleen Uptigraph.
Yeah, I like.
Where do you want it?
Thank you.
I want it Uptigraph. James Martyr and Harper, Abdul John or Jan or Jan, Erica. I fucking wrote your name terribly. Zalinardo. I think I got
Zalinardo.
it. Stephen Crumley, Teresa Thomas, Letitia Herrera, Lauren Demarath, Alicia Holbert, John Watson, Gina Ozuna, Lanny Blunk, Mariah Menhier, Bailey Cox, Katie Holland, Danny Cave or Cav, Magdalena Leonardis. No, Leonardowis. What did I do? What have I done? Leon.
Nothing good.
Fuck. Something Ritz. To Wits. That's what it, Leonardowitz? I think that's right. I think that's right. No, it's not. No, God damn it. I'm so sorry. Meredith Burrell, Clay Thorson, Zoe, Bedna, fuck this up. Bednasky and Anthony Renaro. That's not right. I'm sorry. Elizabeth Martin, Abel Macedo. Abel Macedo, Angel Mattingly, James Foster, Rivka Arbetter. Is that a joke? I don't know what that is. Michelle Antebi, Matt Nixon, Jennifer Deal, Cassie Hilke, Liz, with no last name, Yaviani. How did I get that right? But I can't get Yaviani Lorenzo.
God forbid.
Kathleen Langbean, What the fuck am I doing? Kyle Alexander, Leslie with no last name, DJ Mitchell, Jessica Christensen, Jake LeBeer, Mia with no last name, Carrie Nicholson, Ali Roberge, Nikki Dawn, Phil. That's you, Phil.
Doing all this gun, man.
Matt Dietrich, Jason M, Marcus Rippentrup, Jacqueline Edmiston, Amanda Gibson, Crystal Lacrosse. No, Chouse. Lacrosse? What am I doing? Esther Gabriel, Tori Bonacci, strap in one last time. Kyle Blaze, Julia Wheeling, Mary McKenzie, Badfish Squid. Don't look at me. Bex Alice, Brittany with no last name, Russ Linderman, Penny Hambrick, bring back Sharkicons. What is that? What have we done? Did we take Sharkicons away?
I don't think that's I think that was at us.
I think that was sent to somebody else, and we ended up catching it.
We've taken nothing away from anybody. All we do is give. Once we have it, we give it away.
I don't know what Sharkicons
once you have it, we won't take it back.
Apparently, we've stolen them all. Jordan Lynch, Suzanne Larson, Amanda Short, Joy White, Shelley Warners, Mark Gavani, Jen Lamb, she is down there in Houston, AR, is that, damn it, AR Foitzwagel? Is that AR or AK? I don't know. Well, guess. I'm saying AR.
Take a stance, Jimmy.
Parky Gary, Josie Jimenez, Zach Stevens, Teresa Meta, Jen XL, Angel Melendez, Troy Mungio, Megan. Is that Megan Levitt? I think it's Megan Levitt, and I left off an N because there's nobody named Mega. There's nobody named Mega Levitt. Right?
Maybe. He's the ultimate Levitt.
The most Levitt. Jennifer with no last name. Tommy Arsenault. Valerie Callahan. Belinda Chandler. Tammy G. Corey Magnuson. Christine Palmer. Corey Herman. Sarah Reichert. Maggie Lawrence. Nikki Cofill. Mike Kennedy. Alex Cawthorn. Madison Flatt. Brandon Revel. Brianna Seeley.
It's all of them.
Carolyn Hart. Caroline. Emily Campbell, Michelle Martin, Michelle Terry also, Megan Daly, Eloise Knapp, Mariah, Devin Reznikoff, Mary Jane High. That's for you, I imagine.
Hey.
Laney Eagle, Nicole Tackett. Nickel? Really? What are we doing now?
Nickel Leonardovich?
What is happening tonight? Rachel, with no last name, Jed Warwick, Megan Wilgus, Anna Zerkich, Brian with no last name, Kelsey Marie Allen, Renee Miller, Chris Kirby, Leslie Bramall, Meth Falcon, Jonathan Wilder, Brian with no last name, Tyler Guell, Parker Adelson, not Prayer. Why would anybody be named Prayer, James? Why? Answer. Riddle me this.
Mega prayer, motherfucker. Yeah.
I'm trying my best.
Mega prayers.
Andrea Tilson, Rhonda
My
Allred.
prayers will fuck your prayers up, bitches.
Matthew Murphy, Kristen Waller, Amy Ellis, Sarah Wetmore, Megan Crowley, it's Lonnie Hall, Martina in San Francisco, Pamela Souls, Christina Jordan, Dylan Leahy, Sally Earls, I'm ruining it. Amy Heiler, Ross Byrne, Jim Crow, not the.
Jesus, as in the law? I hope not. Hey, Dick. Leave black people alone.
Tess Fahey, Gariskus, Marcia Shaw. What did I? Martha Shaw? I'm a jerk, and I can't thank you enough for what you did for us. Melanie Tomey, Belinda Chandler, Dennisy Arias. I know that last name because of that shitbag.
Yeah.
And Keith Durbin. You guys are fucking great.
We love you so much.
Yeah.
We can't thank you guys enough for
You're the ones
for doing everything you do for us, for keeping this like a viable thing that we love you guys. Thank you so much for changing our lives repeatedly. We can't thank you enough. What if they wanted to thank you, or they wanted to be mad at you for having an affair with their English teacher wife? How could they get a hold of you?
You can find me at Whisman Sucks, WHISMAN Sucks. Thank you guys for everything that you do for us. And I realize that a lot of people say it's not personal, it's just business. But this business is incredibly personal, and we get it. So I try my best to be involved with you guys and reply back to things. Sometimes I miss them, and I apologize, but I'm doing my best. Where can they find you doing your best?
You can find me. I'm doing my best, man. You can find me at Jimmy P is Funny, or you can copy and paste my last name from the show description. Find me that way because you won't spell it right. Otherwise, you'll just be like Small Town Murder Guy.
Yeah.
And then that won't work either.
Small Town Murder James.
Yeah. I guess you'd probably find me that way.
That'll probably show up.
You would probably pop up, and you're going to find if any people in small towns.
You're still going to copy and
James
paste from
killed
there.
someone.
Right.
So just copy and paste. Don't be a fucking loon. What are you doing here? So with that said, thank you so much for joining us on this goddamn insanity.
Yeah.
Till next week, everybody. It's been our pleasure.
Bye.
If you like Small Town Murder, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
A few miles from the glass spires of Midtown Atlanta lies the South River Forest. In 2021 and 2022, the woods became a home to activists from all over the country who gathered to stop the nearby construction of a massive new police training facility, nicknamed Cop City.
At approximately 9 o'clock this morning, as law enforcement was moving through various sectors of the property, an individual, without warning, shot a Georgia State Patrol trooper.
This is We Came to the Forest, a story about resistance.
The abolitionist mission isn't done until every prison is empty and shut down.
Love and fellowship.
It was probably the happiest I've ever been in my life.
And the lengths we'll go to protect the things we hold closest to our hearts. Follow We Came to the Forest on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus.